The Oklahoma City Thunder absolutely, and I mean absolutely, crushed the Denver Nuggets. I mean, chill, they stomped the mud hole in them boys' ass.
Yes. Straight
And
that's wrong.
We're going to get into it. And then we're also going to talk about the Knicks advancing to the Eastern Conference Finals too. But before I do that, let me bring up the person who you guys want to see. Oh, Penn. Hi, Penn.
What's good? I'm
Penn,
expecting. I'm assuming that's not who they were expecting.
No, that's not. But I always enjoy seeing you, Penn. But welcome to National YouTube. All right, the person who you guys want to see. Here we go. Fluent. Oh shit. Oh. Round of applause. Here we go. This is the person who everybody came for. Hello, Fluent. How are you doing?
You're on mute.
We can't hear you, Fluent.
I said, Happy Canada Day, Canada.
Tony, leave him alone.
Did you not hear my intro music either?
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't.
That's a shame. It was a beautiful intro. It was like, bam.
That's
too bad. That was a good intro. Y'all
amazing intro music. And Penn, Happy Canada Day to you too.
Victoria Day. We're blessing our queen, and I'm having this for Jay because I know how much he likes these lattes.
Okay, well, It is a queen that's being blessed, but unfortunately, it was a king that was sacrificed, and only one person can really vent to us and let us know how he feels about the illustrious Nikola Jokic not advancing to round 3, the Western Conference Finals. Swiper, how you doing today?
Good. It's been a good morning so far. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon.
Is there some whiskey in there?
No, I've never drank in my life. No, this is straight. Actually, this is actually a coffee made from mushrooms. So it's it's actually really good.
Swipe. What's up, brother?
Man, I'm chilling, man. It's been a great day. I got my board ready. Defense attorney Swiper is here, so trust me. I'm prepared, thoroughly prepared.
Swipe, I don't know if you know this. Swipe, I don't know if you met my man Fluent, Tony Tone, aka Tone. This is Swiper.
How's it going, Swiper?
Nice to meet you.
Unlike the goofy host that we have, like he doesn't do intros. Like he'll just let companies show up and he won't say nothing. So,
L host.
Well,
I've told everyone I was a fan of the show before I ever got on the show. So I used to watch Fluent all the time. Yeah, I mean we've never.
You could know somebody and not be introduced to him, Ron. I know who Michael Jordan is. I never met him before though.
That's funny.
Well, in other news, I would like to start the show off in a manner that I don't typically do.
I'm glad to see nothing has changed.
By reading Superchats?
Yes. My man DSG Piccolo is going to kick off the show today. Yeah. He said, you already know why I'm here. Let's get negative. Belt to ass, boy. Woo! Low-key Caruso might have been the second best player in the series behind Shea. He was in Jokic's skirt. NBA need to give Shea his MVP already.
Shirt.
Oh, that says shirt?
Very clearly.
Oh, oops. Well, anyways, how do we feel about this series, fellas? Fluent, I would like for you to kick things off like the old days.
I don't think anyone should be surprised. OKC is the better team. They're the deeper roster. They've been the better team all season. I'm not going to make excuses with injuries. However, you should point out the Nuggets did have to, some of their players were struggling quite a bit with some injuries. So I don't think it's a surprise. I think you can still be the best player in the world and not win the series against the best team. Basketball. So I think you had guys like Caruso step up. You had, even though Shea wasn't great every single game, he did enough when he needed to win. This team is matches up really well. We talk about matchups a lot. OKC matches up really well with Jokic. The fact that you get Alex Caruso giving you minutes, D'ing him up is crazy. But yeah, I don't think there's any shock here. Anyone who said, Denver's going to win this and it's easy, I think is crazy. I think the fact they went 7 was impressive. It shows how great of a player Jokic is.
Well, two things that ended up happening, because we do give Alex Caruso credit for the one-on-one defender that he is, but I don't think we give Oklahoma City enough credit for the connected defenders that they were. So when Alex Caruso was matched up on the Joker, when he started to back Joker down in the previous series, they would just leave him. Yesterday, he would get close to the paint, and then they would just swarm him like a pack of bees. And he would get off the ball, and it didn't help that guys like MPJ couldn't make shots, guys like Jamal Murray couldn't make shots because he was making the right reads. He would find MPJ wide open in the corner. He'd find Jamal Murray on a one dribble pull up. Those guys just weren't converting shots. But I'm not going to take away from how good Alex Caruso was as a defender, but I also have to add into how good they were as connective defenders too.
I feel like teams are starting to figure out a little. Look, you're never going to stop a guy like Jokic, but I think they're starting to figure out how to make his life uncomfortable more and more, and that's and he's going to have to learn to adapt and change to it now. I also think honestly, of all the teams that are this deep, the Nuggets roster is not the. I don't love it. I love Jamal Murray because he's Canadian, but him being your second best player, quote air quote. Tom,
wouldn't that go back to how good your best player is? Because I mean, I feel like Joker did a good job of masking that in the past too. Because sure, they had I feel like they had KCP, and when they had Bruce Brown. When I look at this kid Brown today, I don't think that there's much separation between him and KCP back then. I don't think there's a lot of separation between those two. But I feel like Joker was so good that he could mask a lot of the problems that they had in terms of their rotation.
But I think they also fell victim to Jamal Murray playing above who he is. And you get that in runs, right? Wiggins played above who he was when the Warriors won. Like, it happens, but that's not who they are. And so I think for longevity, you have to get that guy that's that consistent.
Hang on. Over almost 80 games in his career, including some disastrous meltdowns, Jamal Murray averages 24 points per game in the playoffs.
Great.
What's wrong with him being the second best player?
Nothing.
There's a lot of teams
that good enough in today's NBA to win a championship.
Okay, but they just got beat by a team that doesn't have a second option as good as Jamal Murray, offensively at least. I'm going to remove J-Dub's defensive impact and Chet's defensive impact from that. Neither one of those guys provides.
Yeah, they just have a larger margin because they have the best defense we've seen in the last.
Yeah, you just answered your own question, is because they might not have a second guy who scores as much, but they have a 3, 4, 5 guy who can score and defend significantly better. So you got to look at the holistic roster, and in today's NBA, unless you're going to be that defensive team, which they're not, they need to. I think they need to improve at that number 2.
But how are you going to remove defense, Ben? Like,
I'm not.
We're talking about basketball players.
No,
this
we're talking about second option
is better than this second option. J-Dub is better than Jamal Murray.
Okay, as a complete overall basketball player, yeah,
yes.
But as a scoring option in the playoffs, are we being for real now?
So Jamal Murray's better offensively than J-Dub.
Let's be clear.
Who gives you more overall impact?
Scoring option. I said,
but Ron, I gotta go with Penn on this one, y'all. I think Jamal Murray's better than, and I don't know if that's what Penn said as far as if he's better than J-Dub, but I like Jamal Murray as a second option when he's playing basketball.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I think last night was just a terrible showing from Jamal, and I think we're falling victim to a terrible showing from Jamal and pretending like that's just who he is.
He was
Jamal
sick.
Murray plays.
He was dealing with the flu.
I don't know what it was. I don't care what it was. He played like shit last night, and I don't care why. What I'm saying is I think Jamal Murray is much better than that, and I think we're falling victim to a bad showing last night.
But you said
he was playing terrible.
You have to say when he's playing basketball. If you have to add that caveat,
I'm not. That's not a fair caveat because he plays good. He plays good when he plays bad in the playoffs.
It's not an indictment on Jamal Murray. It's a comment that if he's your second best player going up against these teams that are there right now that are so deep, you're not going to win.
That's the point, Tone, which is what I was going to ask you. So Jamal Murray, what he did in 23 when they won the NBA championship, you don't believe that that's who he is? Totally.
No.
All right. Well, yesterday, what we saw from him yesterday, that's not who he is neither.
He's somewhere in between those two guys. Yeah.
So he's not that neither. So who exactly is Jamal Murray? Because Swipe and I had this discussion. Because Swiper corrected me. I had him averaging like 22 a game since the All-Star break going into the playoffs. He's averaging like 22 and 6. That's who I think Jamal Murray is. I think he's a 19 to 22 a game guy. When we get to the playoffs, that can fluctuate between. He could give you 23, 24 a game on a Tuesday. He could do that. That's
sure.
I don't think that's ridiculous for who Jamal Murray.
Hang on. How is he 19? He hasn't dipped below 21 points per game in like 4 years, 5 years. So how is he 19 to 22? He's a 24-point per game scorer in his career in the playoffs, on good efficiency, by the way,
Right.
with a lot of clutch moments. Like, we have heard
Big
people
moments,
say he's
big
one
moments.
of the best like playoff risers in NBA history. I'm okay. I'll play this out.
Right.
Healthy roster. Name me how many teams have a second option, third option, fourth option as impactful or as good as a healthy Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, and Aaron Gordon. The Boston Celtics?
They're
Yes.
better than the Knicks.
They're better than the Knicks.
I think Denver's top four. I think Denver's top four is good.
Okay.
All
So
things
the
considered,
issue is the deeper roster. You don't have a backup center.
I think they better than
Russell Westbrook is your backup point guard, and he is wildly inconsistent and volatile. You have a lot of young players who need to grow up a little bit, and you had a lot of health issues, which sort of, exacerbated your problems of depth, right? Because if Aaron Gordon has this hamstring issue and you have Aaron Wiggins on your bench, as opposed to whatever the hell else you have on your bench, you might be able to get away with it a little bit better. Depth helps you. Look, we literally had this conversation when we were breaking down who will dominate the West. Y'all remember 7 months ago who we had as the top two teams in the Western Conference? It's the two teams that are in the Western Conference Finals. We had OKC number 1 and Minnesota number 2.
Yep.
We had Denver number 4. We had Dallas number 3. So, not perfect, but Nico Harrison kind of fucked us over there. I'm just saying. I don't think this roster is that bad. They just pushed the OKC Thunder to 7 games hobbled. I think they deserve a little bit of credit.
I still think that game 4. I still think that game 4 was the series of the games, and I think that game 4 was the series. They put Oklahoma City in a 3-1 hole. I think the series is over. I think it's done. But the fact that Oklahoma City was able to top the series and now get that momentum back, because J-Dub wasn't playing good at that point. He was not. If they end up continuing this, I think that they get them dudes out of there 5, maybe 6 games.
Listen, OKC has to learn how to win, and that's what they're doing this year.
Sure.
And so they're only going to get better. So back to my original point is this roster as constructed needs to get, if Denver's going to want to compete with these young, great teams, they're going to have to get better, right? You bring up Jamal Murray scoring. Cool. In the championship run, he's averaged over 26 points per game in the playoffs. In the last 2 runs, 20 and 21. That's a 5-6 point dip from what he needed to do to win them a championship. So he's either going to have to score more or they're going to have to get better, deeper roster to compete with these young teams because they're good. Like all of these teams now are going 5, 6, 7 deep.
Indiana got 9 guys, Tone. Oklahoma City got 9 guys. Right? Yeah. Indiana got 9 guys. Oklahoma City got 8, 9 guys. Now the Knicks got 8 or 9 guys, but he only going to play 6 of them. That's the difference. Yeah, he's only going to play 6 of them.
Who?
So
the Knicks might play their 5 starters 48 minutes in the game.
He's got 9 guys. He only going to play 6 of them. So
they have 7. They have 7 guys they play.
They better play Mitchell
Robinson and Deuce. Yeah, that's the 7. So the starting 5 plus Mitch and Deuce.
Yeah, the Celtics also just fell off the face of the earth. They choked that series, so they shouldn't have lost in the first place.
They were hurt too.
Yo, hold on. I want to before we get to that series, I want to stay right here and Swiper as the resident Denver Nuggets guy. You tweeted something yesterday, and I felt for you. You said Jamal Murray is sick. MPJ has a hurt shoulder. Aaron Gordon is missing a hamstring. Westbrook has a hand injury, but they are fighting. And Mars responded to this, but I didn't want to put Mars's name.
I responded to that tweet. I don't know if I responded to that one.
You responded
I definitely did. I did a lot of responding. That one, I think that one.
Mars, do you chase Swiper around? Do you chase Swiper around?
I had time yesterday because I was meant to be podding at 7 Eastern, but obviously that got delayed. So I was just on Twitter scrolling, and because I follow Swiper, his tweets show up on my feed. And there was a lot of nonsense, so I had time. But
do you have time today,
that one's entirely true. I want to give Denver I didn't think they was going to come close to winning the series. The fact they got to a game 7 kind of shocked me. OKC are just a way better team, but you can't deny the fight that Denver had throughout the whole playoffs, especially in this series. I still think it was negligence that Aaron Gordon was out there playing, but he gave everything he had. You could see the man couldn't move, but he was trying. He was battling for rebounds. I seen him try and drive and finish over the top of someone. Now, obviously, that didn't work, but he tried. So credit to him. MPJ obviously dealing with the shoulder the whole playoff, so you give him a lot of credit. He wasn't good at all. Can call a spade, but fighting. Everyone, one thing you can't, I guess, question with Denver is the desire they had to compete. and the fact that they turn into a good defense in the playoffs. Now they sucked in the regular season, but in the playoffs they played at a level defensively they hadn't really shown. So I do think you got to give Denver credit for that. But the better team ultimately did win, and I think the biggest issue for Denver besides the injuries was they didn't have another adjustment they could go to. Once Shea figured out the defense they were throwing at him, they didn't have other things to throw at him to, I guess, speed him up or slow him down, whatever you want to call it. Whereas OKC just had another roll of the
Well, I
dice
don't even
that
think
Denver
that's
didn't have access
what happened
to. So that's
for
why
me. I think the SGA stuff is what it is. The starters for Denver were better than the Clipper starters and the OKC starters, like consistently throughout both of the series. But I think
as bad as MPJ was playing, still,
yeah, because
in terms of like on court net rates,
yeah, they were winning all the minutes.
Wow.
Because what MPJ provides is what they don't have. It's just MPJ's existence on the court changes how teams are able to guard Jokic in the post and then able to guard Murray on the perimeter, and you can offset that with Christian Brown as slashing, because you see when Christian Brown had that dunk off Chet on the DHO, they're hanging on to Porter and Gordon because they can't leave them consistently. And obviously he's their fifth option. And so his ability to get to the rim and finish, I think, matters there. And a lot of that is credit to Porter for just being out there. But for me, I think what actually cost them game 7 is that if they don't have the ingenuity of the starting five, and meaning the full access to like all of the calibers that they can get into because of Aaron Gordon and Porter and Jokic and Murray and Brown. To me, they lost when Aaron Gordon was injured, just because defensively, I think that made a big deal and a big difference in how they were able to guard for the rest of the game. I also think some of this too, like, you know, they have been able to withstand throughout the series OKC going on these runs because once they put the starters back in the game, they can either get back into the game or they can rechase the lead. And I think yesterday, at the top of the second quarter, you know, I don't know if because Jamal is still sick and he just didn't want to give him too many minutes. He played Russell Westbrook, Julian Strawther, Peyton Watson. I think Aaron Gordon was out there, obviously, who's not 100%. And then he played maybe Michael Porter. I can't remember who it was. And they got blitzed like right away. I mean, they just went straight to hell right away. And I think I've tracked all series. You know, when the Nuggets starters were in the game with OKC starters, it was 21-10. And then as soon as Peyton Watson and Russ came into the game, OKC's able to play a different brand of defense. And I think because of the spacing issues that, you know, Mars talked about this all last year in the offseason as well, just creating a lot of those looks and advantages wasn't there. And I think that kind of also let OKC get in the game because the turnovers go up, the gambling goes up, but then the Nuggets just don't have the shot conversion on the other end. And it was 25 or 26-21 at the first quarter. Yep. And then, like I said, they went on a 6-0 run like to start the quarter. And then from that point on, it was back and forth until 3 minutes and 10 seconds left. And it was 41-42. And then the OKC Thunder went on an 18-5 run to close the half.
That's
and
what
I think they shot 7-7 over that stretch, and the Nuggets shot maybe 2 of 10 or something. And so from that point on, I think it got out of wax. And then the Caruso adjustment with Jokic, and then in particular the Caruso adjustment with Jokic in the third quarter as well. I think all of that kind of bled into where the blowout happened. On top of, I don't think that the Nuggets had the same level of firepower in the third quarter to be able to stage a comeback. Remember, they've been down multiple times by 15 and come back and got into the game and or won in this series. But I don't think with AG being where he is and especially the defense that they did play versus Joker, and I think Joker not being physical enough to establish some of that position, which is where I think he deserves to blame from. I think a mix of all those things is what led to OKC kind of going on the run they did in the second half for me.
The thing that I was really concerned with Swiper. The thing I was really concerned with Swiper before the series started, and you and I had this conversation, I was concerned about the turnovers. The turnovers was what was going to bother me because I know how good Oklahoma City is at converting the turnovers. And your boys yesterday, I believe it was in that second quarter, 3 straight turnovers. 3 straight turnovers, and that was part of blowing the game open. On top of them having 3 straight turnovers, the fact that you don't, and this is something that's got to be addressed in the offseason, you need to back up 5 man. You got to get a guy to back up Joker. And I don't think that you need somebody that's awesome, but you need somebody to supplement his minutes. Where when he's off the floor, we don't just completely die. Now, don't get me wrong. I think that in a game 7, I'm not coming out the game. Don't take me out the game. I've seen plenty of stars play to the caliber of Jokers in terms of stars. I've seen plenty of stars play the entire game. I'm not buying the whole gas thing, but
what do you mean you're not buying it?
Well, the reason why I'm not buying
it's the course of the season. He did play in the second half, though. He played the fourth quarter.
100%. But when we
Murray
get
did as well.
This is why you need a backup 5 man. So when we get to spaces like this, he has enough rest where when we get to a game 7, I can go the whole game. When we get to a game 6, I could go the whole game because I have been supplemented throughout the course of the season. Don't take me out the game because we're going to lose if you take me out of the game.
But I don't think that's why they lost, though.
Do you think you're probably already going to answer my question.
Yeah.
Do you think them not having a backup center is the reason they lose or have lulls offensively when Joker is off the court?
I think it's not a modern offense.
There's going to be whoever that backup is. There's going to be such a huge drop off. They need someone who's going to facilitate offense, who's going to be able to score. So that there isn't, because the big drop off is what their offense does when he's off the court. That's the bigger drop off. So putting in a backup center who doesn't do any of that stuff, I don't think that makes them a better team.
But here's the difference, though, Tone.
Wait, chill. Damn the backup center. Damn that. Let's talk about the starting center for a second, please, for a second. Now, initially, I wanted to come up here and give your team a flower swipe. It was because it was starting to get real somber, and I feel like this should be more of a celebration. You know what I'm saying? The fact that your team narrowly escaped the Clippers. Shout out to Aaron Gordon, and then had this long run with this team, who I think that y'all should have beat. A team that I honestly think y'all are better than. A team that I believe y'all should have won this series. I think y'all had a better chance with them than y'all had against the Clippers. Now, I just want to talk about one simple thing because I was on Twitter and they was getting on me because I'm like, why? Like, there's no way Alex Caruso can guard Jokic. Like, because saying Alex Caruso now, and I made that tweet specifically to make sure that people didn't come up here with the narrative ongoing that, oh, yeah, I remember the time Alex Caruso locked up Jokic in game 7 and they won, because that's just absurd, right? And then I'm talking about how he's being more of a gimmick, and these guys don't want to pass the ball into him. Their post entries are terrible, which is true. I mean, they couldn't handle the ball pressure. The dudes were like this with the ball, being real weak with it, couldn't get Jokic the ball. But then I remembered, this is the dude that's supposed to be better than Shaq, Hakeem, all these dudes, and you can't post up.
Keep going, Ox.
You got a 6'3" dude on you and you flopping, falling around. You got two back-to-back turnovers because your big ass is flopping. Instead of hitting this little dude in the chest, like boom, give me the ball.
Ox.
Give me the ball. Here's my hand, Jamal. I'm right here. Dump it down to the big fella. You're standing there with your arms at your side looking like rookie Victor Wembanyama and shit falling. What are you doing? This is an embarrassment. An embarrassment. This is the dude that's supposed to have more. Look, he was fighting with Joe. He was fighting with. Chill. If that's Joel,
oh no, Caruso just like that. I don't know what to tell you.
No, he's not, Mars.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is.
He's a hell of a defender. He's a hell of a defender.
And by the way, quit shrinking Caruso to fit your bullshit narratives. He's not. There's no bullshit to this. There's no bullshit to this. I didn't try to calm down for 2 seconds to understand what I'm saying.
I'm calm. We just not going to disrespect.
Okay,
no Caruso slander.
You don't got to calm down. We can just be yelling.
Not doing that.
Just hear what I'm saying. Just hear what I'm saying. All I'm saying is,
we're listening, Ox.
There's no way, Ron. There's no way. I don't care what anybody thinks they're seeing on this basketball court. There is no way that this dude should be able to deny you the basketball. And I'm watching. I'm looking. There are so many times Jokic is wide open. Yeah, Alex Caruso's doing this and bumping, but he's wide open. Ron, I'm looking at these entry passes. They're non-existent. Like but on top of that, Jokic isn't giving them a target anyway. And sometimes when he is, they're just missing him. They're not dropping it down. I don't know if they work on entry passes coming up anymore. I don't know if that's a thing or not. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure what's going on, but I and with all due respect to Alex Caruso, because he was working his ass off, and then Chet was coming with the double helping. I mean, they were working hard, but when you was getting Jokic the ball, he was getting good looks. When he was being physical, it was right there. I think Jokic sold yesterday. I'm sorry, he was being extremely soft. The flopping really hurt him. I think the flopping accelerated that run they went on. You know what I mean?
I want to ask Ox and Jay a question. I want to ask you guys a question because you always talk about how you played ball, right? That's always your narrative, especially you, Ox. So you're telling me a 6'5", 190-pound dude who is a defensive player who is probably, I don't know how strong he is, but I'm assuming he's significantly strong. You're telling me because you're a big man. You're telling me no one smaller, shorter than you has never been strong enough to make your life difficult in the post. Hold on. And Jay, as a smaller guard, as strong as I know you are, because I've seen highlights of you play. You're telling me you've never gone in and guarded someone taller than you and made their life miserable with your physicality and strength?
I've been able to do. I have been able to do that. However,
Silence Caruso.
I have been able to do that. However, the difference is against the best player on the planet who primarily plays in the post.
Allegedly.
You should not.
But not known for his physicality and known for his.
Caruso might be the best.
You don't got to go that far with it. Chill. You don't have to be the best player in the world. All you got to be is a physical, big. Be your regular size. Be big and give them a target and post up. What I'm saying is y'all two down here think I'm trying to take credit away from Alex Caruso.
No, I'm not. That's what I think you're doing. Yes,
what I'm trying to do is understand how come the best player in the world can't post up. That's what I want to ask.
Because how
come he can't post up Alex Caruso? Alex Caruso.
How often has he faced?
I bet you he don't do that to Hakeem.
Over the regular season.
I bet you Hakeem sit at the end of the bench.
How many times have people guarded him like that in the all season long, all career long?
Well, multiple teams did it this year.
I want to answer your question on Fluent. You said, has anybody ever been able to do that? But that's the thing. No, when you're that big, they can be as physical as you want to be. It doesn't matter. I always say basketball is really a size thing.
The defender or the big? Which one are you saying, Ox?
As a post player, it's really a size thing. I'm saying it's really a size. You know, look.
I'm saying the physicality.
Listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying like when your body is this big, if I got him over here and he's moving, I can move. I can move my body. I can sit down. I can sit my ass down and get in the stand. Boom, post up. One thing is you're shaking your head, Pin, but you're shaking your head. But Jokic wasn't even doing that though. It's not like Jokic was really posting up. Jokic was standing there leaning on him. Sometimes go like this. When I watch him give him a target, he. Ball right to him. Boom.
Alex Caruso fronting him at 6'5". Alex Caruso
probably,
just
how you gonna front me with very little the weeks now? I know these dudes are moving quick, but in the playoffs still you got to give it to me when I'm open.
But they're not sending.
There's no respect here.
I'm in between what you're saying, Ox, and what they're saying because I'm not giving all the blame to Jokic. I'm not giving all the credit to Caruso. I'm in the middle where did Jokic play as good as he could have and done as much as no, but did Caruso play good defense? Absolutely.
He did.
Hell yes, he did. That's why I keep saying I think he's a fantastic, amazing, incredible defender.
Yeah.
I think he played great. I think a lot of this is on the guards, allowing dudes like J-Dub, Kaysen, and Lou Dort to be all in their face like this. That ball pressure is serious. I know for a fact. So to go to just
that's what happens when you fire your coach out the season.
Right, but this what I'm saying, what you were saying a minute ago though, Fluent, like as far as experience goes, I know for a fact that if I'm guarding somebody, you know, a big dude that's way bigger than me, you know, a 4-star, one of them dudes, I'm trying my hardest to front, but I'm telling my guard, you can't just let him pass it down here. I need some ball pressure. Help me out. Because
you're also using that low center of gravity and getting low and pushing out his legs, which makes life difficult for a big guy.
It does, but that's what you're supposed to spin and post up right here.
It's not like Jokic.
He's not even working, Fluent. He's not working.
But it's not like he's fleet of foot either, right? Like he's
has very good footwork.
I don't think this is any reason. This is to me are none of the reasons why that happened.
You don't know what the word fleet means.
Swipe, but don't you can't you watch the game, bro. You can't save this. This is embarrassing.
There's no saving. I think there's basketball reasons why what happened yesterday.
Basketball reasons like I just gave
Caruso,
your man's
I
being
think
strong.
Caruso did a great job, but I also think that bigs. Factually, I've said this for years now. Cannot be as physical with guards as guards can be with bigs. I've said this for a long time. And they were also sending help weak side on those plays. And to your point, Ock, they were sending a lot of ball pressure. So if there was a chance for them to throw the ball up top, they couldn't throw it over the top. J-Dub blocked Jamal Murray on entry passes. Russ had 3 entry passes, got Cole stolen yesterday. And then also on the short roll, Jamal Murray, because he had to jump in there and throw the ball high, you know, Case and Wallace coming weak side as a third player, like behind Jokic, like they're.
You can point out the one time when Case came and stole that clean ball.
I'm saying that happened multiple times.
Swipe, and I'm happy to talk about that because I want to get to that too. I want to talk about the guard play too because Jamal Murray folding like laundry. I didn't expect it. How do you let these dudes just press you like this? You're holding the ball. These are professional basketball players we're talking about, y'all. We're talking about professional basketball players that are, instead of getting strong with the ball, getting dudes off you and getting good angles, they're really getting ball pressure like this. I'm talking about experienced NBA basketball players.
Okay, cool. I mean, in my one hand, I have a
don't just okay, cool. Like I'm just like don't go ahead, Pete.
No, I mean,
I do think you guys are dismissing fundamentals.
Hang on,
fundamental basketball. You guys are dismissing it. Fluid, Mars, Pin. You too, Swiper.
What did I do?
Yo, Jokic is 7 foot, 380 pounds. It's way in hell that Alex Caruso is supposed to move him off the block. It's no way in hell that Alex Caruso is supposed to not allow him to see. We're having an actual discussion.
No,
did I say something that detracted?
I do think it matters as somebody who's watched every game and every dribble of the series. I do think it matters that Lou Dort and Caruso had also over the course of this series. There were multiple plays where Jokic got offensive foul calls earlier in the series because of how physical he was being with the guards. And I do think, but that you have to weigh that. And I do think Jokic, absolutely 100%, was also concerned if he did start really pushing them off the block and moving them around, especially on fronts, they were then going to fall over. Dort did it earlier in the year.
Oh my God, are you serious? He was afraid to play physical.
So we're just going through the
offensive foul.
I think
are you serious?
I think we're so
Giannis would have fouled out. Giannis would have got 4 offensive fouls. Giannis would have fouled out the game.
We've seen the Heat do this to him. We saw Heat do this to him. This is not true. So I think
he ain't shooting 9 shots.
I think
he ain't shooting 9 shots in the game 7. I bet that.
I'm good with working through slandering Jokic. But what I would like to do is to talk about what OKC did and what they played. I'm trying to talk about the basketball. Then you came off the mic. So I'm saying I think it's very smart to take a smaller defender to play versus a bigger player because there's a level of physicality that big cannot operate with. And I think you saw over the course of the series.
He didn't even try
when Jokic did. I disagree with you, Ox.
It's literally a mismatch. You play basketball to get mismatches. You want to get bigs switched on guards, and you want to get guards switched on bigs.
100% is a mismatch.
If it's not a mismatch, then he's not the greatest offensive player in the NBA. If it's not a mismatch. If it's not a mismatch.
I think the
thing what I'm saying about on the block. I didn't see them cook Dwight Howard on the block. I didn't see them cook every center on the block.
Stop right there, Ron, because you keep talking about box work. Number one, that's not where the action was starting at. That action started in the mid post and it started on the perimeter, which is where Alex Caruso is bodying him. How about we move Joker to the actual box? How about we get Joker on the box?
He got less touches.
I'm not done. How about we move Joker to the actual box where now there is no weak side help over the top? When I get him on
there would be weak side help over the top on Caruso.
This is my issue.
Caruso was playing.
They had more success with Jokic at the nail, and Jokic scored on Caruso at the nail multiple possessions because when he got. What did you say, Morris?
When he wasn't 2 possessions. It was like 2 possessions he scored in Caruso.
So multiple possessions. When he gets the ball at the nail.
He only made 5 shots.
Yeah, that's disgusting. Used to the word multiple.
You can't.
That is multiple.
It's a couple. It's a couple.
If we can just not get lost in semantics, for the love of God.
Right.
All I'm saying is it's easier to give him the ball at the nail, but what they started doing very well is the weak side on the opposite end. When he would get the ball in the right hand, they were cheating over, and that's when J-Dub got a steal on him, Caruso got a steal on him. I think some of this is when he's at the nail chill, they have the ability to give him the ball without multiple people, meaning a backside defender and fronter being there. And I think if you put him on the nail, then they're literally, especially if it's not, again, remember, if it's not Murray, and it's Brown or it's Russ, they're already cheating off. So there's a fronter, there's somebody cheating off the man here, and there's somebody behind him on the other shot. If it's Jamal has to get the ball into him. But even at that point, they're still sending 4 to 5 at Jokic, and in particular, smaller players. Sure. So what I think is you saw over the course of the series, Jokic was hunting Chet. He was hunting Hart because that changes the way they're able to play defense versus him. And he found a lot of success, as we saw, versus Chet and versus Hart over the course of the series because it's easier to have that kind of physical style versus another big as opposed to a guard. But I think Caruso does a lot of credit because he did play extremely smart. He played extremely hard at the level. He tried to deny the ball as often as he possibly could. And I think they made the adjustment because in the first quarter, And in the first half, Jokic had 17 points, had went to the free throw line 11 times.
Yep.
So he was dominating on the inside. He was getting fouled consistently. And then what they did was they said, what we're going to do, we're going to take Isaiah Hartenstein out the game chill. We're putting Caruso in, and we're going to play deny for the entire third quarter. He shot the ball one time in the third quarter.
Right.
Because they literally could not get him the basketball. And Jokic, to me, also didn't do fight it hard enough, I think, to get the ball for the rest of the quarter as well. I think multiple things happened. I think the team functionally didn't give him the ball and couldn't, as you saw in the turnovers.
Sure.
I think Jokic could have been more physical. But what I also did say in the third quarter is that I think that over the course of I just think they got worn down. I think the whole team, I think Aaron Gordon being injured, Porter being injured, they couldn't get anything. They couldn't get anything out of anybody else. And then Murray and Porter had 6 points in the first half. Jokic had 17. Brown had 12. They had 29 of the 46 points. They couldn't get any scoring out of anyone. So I think them trying to come back into the game, plus the fact they were turning the ball over, plus the fact that OKC started hitting their shot. J-Dub was 8 of whatever. I think 8 of 11 in the first half or something like that. He had got it going. Caruso was a plus 40 in the game. Kaysen Wallace was a plus 20 in the first half. The bench units, I think all that stuff changed. The Nuggets couldn't have anybody. Julian Strawther did nothing. Russell did nothing. Peyton Watson did nothing. Caruso played well. Kaysen Wallace came off the bench and played well. Plus, the starters got it going. I think that after the momentum subsided for the Nuggets in the first quarter and then went into the fourth, and then they went on those rolls and those lead at the top of the second, into the second. Yep. I think all of that led into what happened. Because Jokic had just had a 34-16 game or whatever that was and played super well, had just had a 40-15-5 game and had just played well versus them. Sure. So he obviously had figured something out. And in the first half, he was cooking. I thought we were headed towards like Jokic having another 30-20 game. But I think they just made the proper adjustments. They made the proper adjustments and go ahead.
Sure. Now, to counter what you just said, because you did make an interesting point about Joker being at the nail, and I understand that part because now there's more spacing, there's more room for me to operate, and there's more options on offense with whether getting MPJ involved in offense, whether getting Russ diving to the basket. I can definitely appreciate that. No question about that. But I felt like when they went to Caruso, it wasn't recognized that there was more connectors. See, the reason why he was doing what he was, there was more connectors. See, when he was doing what he was doing, when he had that 44-20 game, when he had that 40-15 game, they basically left him and Caruso in the mid post. Those connectors weren't there as quickly. When he was on the wing and when he was in the mid post, those connectors were a lot closer yesterday.
What do you mean connectors?
And Kaysen Wallace, the help defense, it was closer. It was a lot closer, and they shot the gaps to Joker a lot quicker than it was in previous times. So when he would get the ball and he would dribble one, dribble two, and then he would get into the paint, they would swarm him. That wasn't going on that wasn't going on in game one. That wasn't going on 2 nights ago in game 5. That wasn't going on. They were essentially leaving him by himself. They weren't swarming Joker like that. On top of that, you can't leave out
in the post.
Yes, he was in the post,
but he didn't get the ball in the post consistently though.
Well, that's Swiper.
They couldn't give him the ball in the post consistently.
That's the point, Swiper. I don't want him to play. That's the point, Swiper. I don't want him to play in the mid post and on the wing. I want him to be in the post. And
but
Jamal Murray.
They double off the low.
They weren't doubling. They weren't doubling off of him yesterday. That wasn't. I'm watching
a double. A pre-double is a double.
A pre-double is okay. So just so you know, Swiper, pre-cooked isn't cooked. Those two things aren't the same thing. No,
if you send chill.
If you're pre-cooking it, that doesn't mean it's cooked.
Chill. If you're fronting on one end and then you have a backside defender, then that's a double.
Still ain't doubling.
But they couldn't throw the ball into him.
If I ask for the basketball, I'm on the box.
Yeah.
If I got Alex Caruso, who is 6'5", I'm on the box, and I got Alex Caruso, whether he's in front of me or on the side of me, and I'm asking for the basketball. That is my job as a wing or as a primary ball handler.
They couldn't give him the ball. They couldn't. They literally could not.
When they did get him the basketball, and he got into the lane, they swarmed him. So what I would like to do, what I would like to have
off
seen.
Of who?
Did I not see? Am I losing my mind, Swipe? But did I not see Chet? Did I not see Alex Caruso? And did I not see Kaysen Wallace jump him in the middle of the lane? Which would explain why MPJ
I
was
agree,
wide
but
open.
I'm saying,
did I not see that?
But that speaks to the issue, though. They didn't have people that could make those shots and make them punished for playing that way yesterday.
Well, that's definitely a problem, and that's another problem that we have. If those guys can make shots, then you could get more one-on-one coverage, right? But if I got Alex Caruso, if I got Alex Caruso on me, right? If I got Alex Caruso on me, I should be able to operate on him closer to the box as opposed to being on the wing.
But it's not just it's not one-on-one defense though, Chill. That's why I guess I'm confused about. If it was one-on-one, I get you, but that's not what it was. And then on top of that, to your point, if they had other players making shots, if Jamal Murray or Gordon if he was healthy,
sure,
Porter if healthy, then they weren't though. I'm saying those players weren't factors for most of the game. I think Gordon tried. He had 8 points and 11 rebounds yesterday. He tried.
Yes,
like he literally fought his tail off, almost cursed to do what he did yesterday. For me, Gordon deserves all the credit in the world. I don't think he should have played either. But he wanted to show up for his team yesterday, and Jokic even told him, don't play, because you can make it worse. But he wanted to show up, and Gordon played better than Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. yesterday. I do think if both of those two players play better, especially if Jamal, if he was a factor at all, then it's not a 60-46 game going into half. Might be 58-60, might be 56-60. And then that way you're starting the third quarter off, you're not down 14. And then on the other end, defensively, Aaron Gordon, they went back to that 2-3 zone chill. AG literally could not move backside and got beat multiple possessions to start the third quarter off, which is not his fault. I did see that. I don't blame him at all for that. They had to play him. Peyton was horrible yesterday.
How are we 41 minutes into this show and we haven't talked about why the Nuggets actually lost this game? How?
I've tried to be talking.
I mean,
what have we missed? What did we miss?
There was
just talked about them not making open shots. We talked about that. We talked about Joker getting jumped in the middle of the lane. We talked about their turnovers. What did we miss?
Alex Caruso.
We talked about Alex Caruso.
Okay,
no, you spoke about how Alex Caruso shouldn't be able to do what he did.
Exactly, and I mean,
he shouldn't be.
We started the first 5 minutes praising that.
Steph Curry shouldn't be able to shoot like that. So I guess we don't give him credit for doing it.
Okay, first of all, I think the big disconnect here is some of us actually believe that Alex Caruso should very well be able to do this. Some of us actually believe, some of us up here, at least 2 of us up here, believe Alex Caruso might be the best perimeter defender of his generation. So
the best perimeter defender locks up the best offensive force that we've ever seen.
You realize Smalls have done this before.
This is the most ridiculous.
Give me the big that got locked up by Small.
This is the most ridiculous nasty. Okay, first of all, I don't want to get lost in the weeds.
No,
Ron, before you
they got locked up by the Small.
So you're saying one-on-one defense or what they did yesterday? Which one do you want? Which one do you want?
Give me the big that got locked up by the Small, the all-time big.
Just one player. So you're saying
you didn't need the big,
right? So
that got put in the torture chamber like the greatest offensive force that we ever seen.
If it was one-on-one defense, you would have a point, but you don't have a point. I think that's what I'm saying.
What I'm saying is he's the greatest offensive force of all time. Michael Jordan got triple teams. LeBron got triple teams.
No. But LeBron was horrible when he did too. We've seen LeBron be horrible in series though. Like what are you talking about? We saw LeBron shoot 39% in series in the finals. We literally watched it happen.
Yeah.
We saw LeBron in 2011.
Yeah.
We watched him have average 18 a game. Should not show up in the multiple second half. But hold on. But this is what I'm saying.
What do we do to him?
This is what I'm saying.
And what do we say?
What? Who?
We crucified him.
I'm good with that. But you're asking. You're asking. Have other bigs been defended this way? I'm saying they have, but you're asking one-on-one. I don't think that was what yesterday was. I think most people would agree it wasn't one-on-one defense. I do think
most people don't agree. That's the
SGA playing one-on-one defense.
Most people actually
was SGA getting one-on-one defense?
No, hang on. Most people actually believe, because they're crazy, that Alex Caruso locked up Nikola Jokic. That's actually what they think. That's what they think they watch. And to those people, God help you. But what I'm going to say is, what actually happened yesterday was there was a very critical stretch that we have, I don't know, for some reason, just completely glossed over, where the Nuggets were up 10 with like a minute to go in the first quarter. And you look up and a minute into the second quarter and they've lost the lead. And during those 2.5 minutes, there were some brutal coaching decisions that went on, including starting the second quarter with both Jokic and Murray on the bench. Now, here's the thing. A few things had to happen in a row, right? Now, I was actually we were on Playback, and I said the Thunder need to find their energy on defense because their offense is not working right now. They were in a drought. They couldn't score. They were just passing the ball around like hot potato, and they found that energy on defense. You cannot turn the ball over against this team. There's something about rhythm in basketball. There's something about momentum in basketball. It's a real thing. Any competitive sport, whether you're talking boxing, MMA, momentum is key. So when you cut someone, when you hit someone and they fall, like there's a swing in momentum. I believe that that David Adelman, sorry, not Rick Adelman, David Adelman, because Rick Adelman probably wouldn't have done that. David Adelman made the worst possible coaching decision at the worst possible time. Your team was already on the ropes. You were one of those fighters that was a little bit dizzy, and you decided to give the OKC Thunder the full force of momentum by keeping your two best offensive creators on the bench and putting a lot of young players and, quite frankly, Russell Westbrook on the court at the same time, which led to turnovers, which led to transition, which led to the defense fueling the offense, which led to Shea and J-Dub seeing the ball go through the basket. Now you lost the lead to the point of, what did you want Nikola Jokic to do in the third quarter? Well, wait a second here. 30 seconds into the third quarter, it was almost a 20-point lead. And I think Jokic is smart enough to realize that his team hobbled, this team rolling, they probably didn't have it. Would I have preferred for Jokic to take 30 shots in this game and go down fighting and maybe put up 40 points so people like Ron and Ox would have a little bit more respect for him today? Sure. But that's never the player he's been. He's always played to win. And once winning is taken off the table, I don't think he's gonna go out gunning.
Oh my god!
No,
man.
he does not. He does not come. He does not
He's
come.
always played to win.
I don't share
So last
this.
night he played to win.
Jokic has always played to win.
I'm
So
sorry.
did he play to win last night?
Yes.
There's
Nothing. There's nothing that this player cares about more than winning. He does not care about his stats. He does not care about what
And I
you
can
think
say that
about him.
about
He does not
Lou
care
Dort.
about
I
what
can say
ESPN
that
is going to
about
say about him the next day.
So he
Aaron
gave up. He
I
threw in
can-
the towel.
It's not quitting, yo.
I can say that about every player.
No, because
Like,
there's
like, I'm
a
playing to
certain
lose
type of
tonight.
Swiper, is this
Bro.
true, Swiper?
What are you talking about?
There's
I
a
think the
certain
whole
type
team
of
wanted to win
hooper.
yesterday.
There's
I
a
just
certain
think they
type
got
of
gassed.
hooper. There's a certain
Oh
type
my
of hooper
word.
that
I
says,
don't even know how to
I
respond
need
to
to
that.
get my 30. I don't think Jokic is the type of guy who says, I need to get my 30. He's the kind of guy who says, I think I need to get my team to win. He's played this way his whole life, from youth level all the way to the pros.
And if I get 30 in the process, then bet. But
If I get 30, if I get 40, whatever.
And
As long as
it's
it helps
also
my
a certain
team
type of
win.
player that says, I'm going to will my team to the finish line. Jamal Murray
Well,
didn't have
I'm
it.
sorry.
Michael Porter
You're
Jr.
not
doesn't have
going
a
to
shoulder.
will shit against the OKC
Gordon, when he
I
willed
don't
something
have
against the
as high of
Detroit
a view.
Pistons,
But
tell me
Penn
about
was-
the Thunder.
Penn thought
And he willed
OKC
something
should have
against the
won this
bad
in
boy
5 or 6
Pistons.
anyway.
We seen that.
I think
Yes, I
yesterday
did.
was a yeah, but I think I have
What
a
are we
much
talking
more.
about?
No, but hold on, Ron.
You talking about
I don't agree with Penn. I think Penn had them losing in 5 or 6. I said they would win in 7. But what I think happened yesterday, Ron, you tell me if I'm wrong. I think because of all of the injuries, plus the fact of how they were guarding Joker, plus the fact that Jamal didn't have it going, plus the fact that the bench had nothing to offer, I think all of those things led to the Nuggets getting down 20, 25 points, Ron. You tell me if you think I'm tripping. Because for me, I think it's a culmination of everything that happened yesterday that led to what happened. They hadn't had that happen since game 2. Like, if anything, they had won the last 12 quarters. I think the Nuggets won 9 of them. They had outplayed OKC down the stretch of the last 3 games pretty consistently. I think that them not being able to close in game 4 and 5 was due to I think because of Jokic, he started in both of those halves, they didn't have the energy. But again, as soon as game 6, they gave him 4 minutes of rest. He scored, I think, 12 points in the 4th quarter in game 6 or whatever else it was. And just like in game 1, we had 18 points in the 4th quarter. I think the Nuggets not being able to give him the proper support yesterday led to some of the stuff that happened. And I do think OKC, to their credit,
not some
to
of it,
their credit, they changed up their defensive game plan once they saw Jamal Murray didn't have it going. Ron, do you feel like that's unfair?
What's unfair?
Do you feel like it's unfair to say once they realized that Jamal didn't have it going, plus the Aaron Gordon, MPJ injury stuff, when they put Caruso in the game and they basically changed how they were guarding Joker because they just realized the only thing that's going to beat us is him? Don't you think that is a part
Ron
of
don't want to hear none of this, Swiper. Ron don't want to hear none of this.
Well, that's all
He
about
doesn't.
No, because you guys have already. I said this last week.
He does.
But
And-
not,
and I
Ron,
don't want to
something.
right quick, Ox, because I don't want to keep arguing in circles. I said this last week, and I'm going to stand on it. You guys set the bar so high for Jokic and
What
said
does
he's
that
the
mean?
greatest offensive player ever.
They've had
That
bad
I
series
expect
before.
him to be able to figure certain defenses out.
He did.
I
He
don't-
just did,
I
though.
don't-
all time
I
5-on-1.
don't expect. I don't expect.
But wait a minute, but Ron, he did.
I don't expect him to only shoot 9 shots. And I don't care if you guys say it's the greatest defense of all time, because once again, I've seen Kobe go against hellified defenses and light
And
them
do
up.
what?
I've
No,
seen
he
Jordan
didn't.
go.
We've seen him not do it.
Light him up.
refused to
I've
shoot
seen
for an
Shaq,
entire
and contrary
half,
to popular belief, Shaq played against good defenders and good defenses, and I've seen him go
But
to
never
work
a defense like
That's not fair though. The Jordan and Kobe thing's not fair.
Sometimes you
They
play
get the
elite
ball
defenses and you play great. Sometimes you play elite.
No doubt.
defenses
No, I
and
get
you
that,
don't.
Mars.
Like,
I get that. And he didn't play
Oh,
good.
wait, what?
So
The
now,
Kobe-
I don't think Jokic had a great series. I think he was really good. He had the really
The
good
Kobe
game.
and Jordan thing ain't fair.
One on
Game
game
one.
Yes, it is. He's the greatest offensive force ever.
Game 6, he was
That's
really
not
good as
fair.
well.
fair.
And then he had
They
3
get
games
the
where
ball
I was like,
easier.
Every one of those guys you've seen do the same thing, where they've gone against an elite defense and shot 7, 8, 9 times and lost the game. Every single one of them has done that too. So to say Jokic is like the only one that's ever done that, don't look so bewildered. Game 5 in the 89 against the Pistons, Jordan goes 4 of 8. He only shoots 8 times and they lose. You've seen Kobe not shoot at all.
What year was this?
89?
89
against the Pistons.
Okay, so this is why.
No, wait, hold on. Let Rob say what he wants to say.
This is why this is a little different.
Go ahead.
This is when Jordan was on his trajectory to
Jordan was
become
already
who he
MVP by that
Ron, he was averaging 35 a game at that point in the
This is
series.
hold on.
He was averaging 35 a game.
He was in year 4. He was in year 4.
Time out. Because when Fluid just said that OKC is learning to win, didn't nobody say nothing? It was crickets, and everybody agreed with it.
When he
So
said
now
what?
when I'm saying that Jordan was learning to win, when he was losing to the Pistons and he was getting better, that's what the case was. Jokic already won a championship. He won multiple MVPs.
What?
I
But
heard
Jordan
he's supposed to be a
was already
5-time
MVP by that
MVP.
point.
I'm about to pull up the MVP right now. You guys believe that Nikola Jokic should have been the MVP this year, as well as I have. He's already established as a winner. He's been in game 7.
What is that? That's a regular season award.
He's been in game.
What
He's
we're
been
not
in
going to do
game
is
7.
no. What we're not
He
going to
has
do
been
is
in
I
game
heard
7.
you.
I'm
I
not
heard
letting him off the hook.
y'all. I heard y'all talking about Jokic and SJ to start this series off. I heard what you were saying. Well, you hold on,
Jokic?
You were saying, Ron, they were not looking like MVP candidates literally to start the series off. They're both in the series. I don't think SJ had an incredible series either. I mean, if you want,
he had 35 last night.
And
he
guess
showed up
what?
when it was time to ball. When it was time to ball, he showed his nuts.
He started showing up.
He showed his nuts when it was time to
I'm
ball.
glad you're doing that. He started doing that when they were up 15 to 20 points when the momentum was already on OKC's side. This is what's factual and what you're not going to change about what happened.
So now we're discrediting SGA's
close. When the game was close, SGA wasn't doing anything. Jokic and Christian Brown were leading the way for the game. And what happened is the same thing that happened that I told you happened. They started bringing players off the bench, and that's when OKC started getting the momentum. That's exactly what happened yesterday. And then going into the half, Jokic has 17 points. We all thought, I thought we were headed to, they get back into the game, and then they go through the third quarter, and then all of a sudden, now we're going to be in another fourth quarter setting like we've been for the last 5 games. And yesterday, the team didn't have the legs. Ron, if you're sitting here telling me that you don't think, for me, Aaron Gordon and Porter both being ailed have anything to do with why the Nuggets could not make the run they needed to make.
No, absolutely.
To Jokic, though. Jokic, if you would have one thing to tell me, honestly, if Jokic had the people around him that would make it to where he could operate and get the ball consistently, but they literally couldn't get him the basketball.
He does. He has the competent second option, right? He averages 24. He's been a playoff riser for his whole career.
He wasn't good
averaging 24 isn't throwing entry pass.
But he didn't average 24 in this series, though. What are you talking about? He wasn't good yesterday.
So he's not a playoff riser.
Man, why do we go to such extremes though? Like I don't even understand. We're talking about what happened.
I'm telling the truth.
But no, hold on, Ron.
Did he rise this series? Yes or no?
Because the issue is, I think he played well in multiple games this series. But he also played 2 of the toughest series.
See, and this is what I'm not doing, right? Because a couple of days ago when Joker went 44 and 16, Ron, was crickets from you. You ain't say a word. And in game 2, or was it game 1 when it 44 and 20, it was crickets from you.
I gave him credit.
I
said that's the MVP.
You didn't say a word.
I said that's the MVP.
You didn't say a word. But now we get into game 7. And by the way, SJ wasn't exactly fantastic in this series. No, he wasn't. But he did show up yesterday. I'm not going to argue that. But in game 6, Joker showed up. And he gave you a Joker performance to push this to game 7, which, by the way, Ron, was an elimination game. Because if they lose, they're out. So they have to win that. And it was crickets from you. Ron, your problem is
I wasn't even here that day.
Ron, what's your
definition of cricket?
Conveniently.
Definition of cricket.
That's crazy.
Wait, chill. Are you happy with Jokic's performance last night? I just want to know. Are you happy with him yesterday?
No one is.
No, but what I'm not going to do.
I am.
what I'm not. I
wanted OKC to win.
He's
not
trying to
gonna
push Alex Caruso agenda too.
Yeah, he wants
rightfully so. Rightfully so.
Thank you.
Because I know you're going to go back and look at this later. So here, let me give you, because you said after they learned how to win. So Jordan in '93 Eastern Conference Finals, 9 field goal attempts. Kobe in
Did they win?
No.
What game?
3. Kobe.
Jordan won a championship in '93, by the way.
And LeBron.
What? Oh no, you don't get to do that. I'm so sorry, bro. That's so
Hey,
nasty.
Sniper, see?
Hold on, Fluent, keep going. Fluent, keep going, Fluent. Keep going.
What do you mean I'm moving the goalpost?
2014.
He won a championship that year.
Wait, hold on. You said 2014 what?
On this.
You said LeBron what?
For LeBron took 10 field goal attempts. So like there's games where the greatest player in the world doesn't take a lot of field goal attempts, and that doesn't mean anything because it's one game.
It means something. It means something for all of them. Every single one of them means something.
No, they didn't. We didn't have social media to do that with Jordan in '93.
But that's not the point. Regardless of what's written in the history books, if things happen, they happen. You know what I'm saying? And regardless if it's a negative or positive, it happened. So just because these other dudes went out soft, don't mean that Jokic didn't go out soft last night. That's all I was saying.
Hold
on, real quick, Swiper. Ron is on, man. I'm speaking for Ox right now.
I said that Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron should get crucified for those two.
That's okay, and that's what I'm saying is,
if it's Cooper Flag,
we don't talk about that with LeBron.
Stop yelling.
We don't bring that up at all about LeBron. Like that series never gets brought up.
What?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. But because Dwayne Wade was at the end of his rope in that series, I think we all agree with that. Like Bosh wasn't what he would need to be. We're talking about the finals year, when they lost the finals, the year they lost the finals. We're talking about.
Six times the finals a million times.
He's 4-6 in those finals. So like, I think that year in particular though,
what year?
Let me.
2000. Which one?
Oh no, there's a lot of finals.
He said 2014. He brought
2014. Okay.
He brought the 2014 year. That's the year we're talking about.
11 too.
Go ahead. The one we bring up are 2011, and I guess this is Ron. This is the thing I think for me is like I think there's perfectly fine in giving Jokic to blame, but I also remember last year, Ron, when he had 34, 19, and 7, and they lost in Game 7. The conversation was the same. Like Jokic blew a 20-point lead at home. What I'm saying is, I think the players of this caliber, there is always going to be criticism, regardless. I think Jokic is going to get the criticism. I think he played really well a lot of this series. I think his defense was great a lot of this series. I think the shot making from 2 to 4 was horrible. I said that. I said that to you at the time. But I said I think his defense was great for most of this series. And I think that actually ended up being the difference from being 3-3 going into Game 7. I think that the playmaking was very good outside of most of the game. They just couldn't hit shots. Yesterday, they couldn't make the shots. Like in Game 5, they couldn't make the shots. Like some of this is not controllable because you have to be able to depend on your teammates as a playmaker to finish those possessions. But I do think the offensive stuff for the shot making, that 2 to 4, it really struggled. But Ron, going into this game, the last 2 games, he was averaging 36.5 on 78 true shooting. And then even yesterday, like he was cooking. Like he was going to work yesterday. And I think OKC at that point, they said the only way we lose this game is if he goes off. And they literally said, no, like you're not touching the ball the rest of the third quarter. And at that point, it's up to everybody else. But then the defense was horrible because I think they didn't have Aaron Gordon to do his normal job that he's done in this series. So like for me, this is all connected. Like I think if the team was healthy, Ron, they win. I think if Aaron Gordon was healthy by himself, they would have won, let alone Michael Porter Jr. I think they had opportunities in front of them.
I think it's clear as day in these 14 playoff games, this little sample size that we got, Swiper, I think it's clear to see who's the most impactful player on the Denver Nuggets.
Yep.
I think we all know. I don't think anybody got to say it the way. I think we all know who that is. And it ain't him. It ain't who you think it is, Penn. Penn, it ain't who you think it is. It's that California boy, Aaron Gordon. That's who it is. Clearly, they need Aaron Gordon.
I can't even tell if you're being serious. And honestly, at this point, I've given up caring. I don't care if you're being serious. Honestly,
it's a fact. Whether you care, whether I'm serious, it's a fact.
Fellas, I gotta let you guys know about the most impactful app on earth. And if you haven't downloaded PrizePicks, quite frankly, I just don't know what the hell you're doing. But go ahead and download it right now because with PrizePicks, not only can you run your game, but you can control your game and win your game when you set a nice NBA lineup. And now I know you guys are all basketball experts. You know, we're the casuals up here. You guys actually know ball. And you see, PrizePicks has this thing called takes to tickets, where your basketball takes can take you to the championship. But it's only on PrizePicks, and it's only when you download the app, and it's only when you use promo code PANEL. So this is how it works. Every time you make a $5 3-pick flex NBA lineup during the playoffs, you will be entered into the sweepstakes to sit courtside during the NBA Finals. You have till May 26th to qualify. So you guys do what we do best and put together good slips. And, well, after you use promo code PANEL, these are the type of slips that you can use. Ax, you want to talk to us about what you got going on right here?
Yeah. I took some tips from some people in the chat, and they helped me put this together. We're going to start with Chet Holmgren at Rudy Gobert, more than 18.5 rebounds. Julius Randle is going to show you exactly how you need to be physical against this basketball team and not be soft and flopping, things like that. So he's going to go with more than 32.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Kaysen Wallace, more than 9.5 points and rebounds. That should be easy for the young fella. Lou Dort and Dante DiVincenzo, they just need to make more than 4 threes together. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Anthony Edwards, I got them combining for less than 12 assists.
All right, there you guys have it. That's what we running today. Y'all follow in our footsteps or do your own thing and come up on PrizePicks. As of right now, I am running a poll. I'm asking you guys, why did the Nuggets actually lose, or who's to blame?
What were the
Jokic,
options?
Murray, Caruso, or God?
Well, if
There's
God
only one
constructed the
answer on that
OKC
poll.
Thunder, then God is to blame. Look, I've picked this team to win the championship all the way since preseason. I think we all know this. I've been very, very high on them. Why? Because they do stuff like this. They're built and designed to do shit like this. Every year, we have a team, you can go back through NBA history, that is just quite well equipped to stop stars. And they usually do pretty well in the playoffs, because the playoffs are about adjustments, and they're about my counter versus your counter versus my counter. And this isolation of one individual versus another individual is frankly crazy. It's not how basketball works.
Well, then why did
y'all
you
have
pick
played
OKC
basketball
to
at
win
a high level
in 5?
well enough to know that that's not how basketball works.
Well, then why
There's
did you
no
pick
way in
OKC
hell.
to win in 5?
What?
Why did you pick OKC to win in 5 then versus Denver? Denver had matchup advantages versus OKC like they did throughout the series.
Well, that's what I said. I believe that OKC Thunder, had they not choked away, had Chet. Honestly, man, this series went way longer than I expected. 100%. Because do you know this was the third, I believe this is the third most lopsided series in NBA history to go 7 games?
Well, yeah, they had blowouts in game 2 and 7.
In terms of betting,
because of the plus minus. Whatever,
Yeah,
right?
they had blowouts in games 2 and 7.
Correct.
Oh, gotcha.
And they had late game meltdowns in several games as well.
But the Nuggets had 2 4 quarters they let go of, though. So couldn't it be Nuggets way? They couldn't have won the series in 6.
OKC gave away game 1.
I don't know how objectively you can look at these two rosters and pick, honestly, obviously you did.
Well, because the starters, I said the difference was going to be the starters, and I was correct. Throughout the series, the Nuggets starters were better.
I think it's fair to say that in the games that y'all lost, your starters were significantly worse as well. So,
I don't think blowouts are a fair.
This is not hockey. We're not doing this. Is not hockey. We're not doing line changes here. Okay, your starters are consistently playing with your bench. Your bench is consistently playing with your starters. I've said all year that OKC is the most versatile team because of what they can do defensively. They have,
but that's not the.
They
Nuggets,
have guards who can play who can play on the box, like Alex Caruso. That's the genius of their roster, is they can switch so many guys across 4 positions, which makes it really hard. They have this incredible tool chest. Now, what my issue is y'all really come up here and you cap for a lot of all-time greats, but you don't really keep that same energy for Jokic and vice versa, right? We can agree that the 2011 Dallas Mavericks were a very veteran-laden team that was very scheme-heavy, very well coached by Rick Carlisle, great defensive team, and they were going to obviously do a lot of shit to stars that was going to make stars uncomfortable, right? Do we remember who that team swept?
The Lakers.
Do we remember what Kobe did in that series?
Played with an injured ankle and didn't play great.
23 points per game. 23 points per game. That's what great defenses do. Did we see what that team did to LeBron in the finals? they had people questioning whether he was a top
Ron,
5
why do
player
you
in the
make that
league.
face when you hear that though? Because that is your main talking point.
Because the Kobe part is nasty. Like it's context that can be put into that.
Okay, LeBron then. What's the context for
2014.
LeBron? LeBron won
And
MVP that year.
Yes, and once again, it's context
Like the
that
next
can be
year,
put with LeBron.
2011.
First off, LeBron doesn't deserve no excuses for that. LeBron choked that, and
But he has multiple series where he had games.
None of these dudes deserve any excuses. Braun, Kobe, Shaq,
guys play bad. Guys play bad. It happens. The idea that you can't just say a guy played bad without it being an indictment on their career is
that's all I'm saying. When I'm talking about what Jokic did yesterday,
that doesn't mean he's not great. Kobe
he's still great. Did he play like shit yesterday?
What happened to Dirk Nowitzki against the We Believe Warriors? What happened? Did they put guards on him?
You're bringing up people's resumes like that. Like that stops the fact from what happened yesterday.
I agree, but I'm more so talking to Ron because Ron is saying I thought he was the greatest offensive player ever.
Yeah, but I feel that too because I want to know.
That's what I'm responding to.
I want to know what happened.
Not you. I'm not talking to you. Just talking to Ron.
Okay, so I get you. But I just wanted to say that to Penn, even Fluent brought up some games. I just want to say, yeah, those happen. And when that happened, them dudes played weak. Them dudes was all-time greats that we hold the higher standards. And when you play when you play sorry, I'm gonna call it out. Yes, Shaq got some stinkers. Hold on real quick, Ron. Hold on, Ron, because Shaq got stinkers, Kobe got stinkers, Jay got stinkers, Magic, Kareem, everybody does it. So when Jokic did it last night, because I understand the schemes of basketball. I understand the schemes of basketball very well. I understand the schemes of basketball very well. I seen what OKC was doing yesterday, and still with what I seen, I still thought Jokic, especially being as good as y'all say he is and as good as I believe he is, could have made a much bigger impact on that game. I think maybe Coach Adelman got overwhelmed right there in the third, and maybe he should have stopped and reevaluated what was going on, ran some motion to get Jokic open instead of just standing him at the nail like this, because that makes him so much more easy to front when he's not moving. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. I think Jokic could have been more impactful yesterday. I think he was posting up weak. I think Swipe, I think you're bringing up runs that happened without bringing up the fact that there was a run going on when Jokic gave up 2 very pivotal steals at the top of the key because he was being soft.
Which led to buckets, by the way. They led to buckets.
Big buckets. No, Swipe, but please don't do this right now.
I did say that. I said the J.W.
Okay, Swipe. I know, and this is the thing too. This whole episode, Swipe, I believe me and you have been saying a lot of the same thing. I think maybe I'm saying it in a way that you don't want to hear it. Maybe I'm saying it in a way
I wanted to note that I did say that earlier. I did say that earlier in the show. And when you were talking, I said, thanks for saying that, Swipe. I said that when you brought up him not posting up strong. I said that before I went into what I was saying. I just think there's nothing wrong with us holding Jokic accountable. If I said anything that y'all took as disrespect, I hope he wouldn't take it as disrespect. I'm not even addressing you. I know. I'm not just talking to you either, Swipe. I'm talking to everybody. I'm just trying to get my point clear. I just want to get my point clear so that I can stop talking and let Fluent and whoever else have the floor. I just want to just get my point very across. I think Jokic played very bad yesterday. I think he's a very good basketball player. I understand that other all-time greats have had stinkers as well, but that does not absolve him of this one yesterday. That's all I'm right.
You're right. And my point was exactly that, because I think we're all actually saying the same thing. He should have and could have played better if they were expected to win. He didn't. And my point when I brought up those other games, because Ron was saying, well, these other guys didn't do it. They did. So that is the point. Every single great, you can go back and look and find games whenever that they all had bad games. They all do it. So to say Jokic is the only one and we should indict his entire career and his greatness because he had one bad game. No, he had a bad game. He should have, could have played better. And that's it. It doesn't take away from how great of a player he is. It doesn't.
You guys got memories of being younger. I vividly remember being in kindergarten and listening to my uncle talk to his man. I'm listening to him scream on his man, talking about how come Jabbar didn't shoot more. I think Jabbar had something like 8 shots against the Trailblazers in '77 in the West Finals. I vividly remember hearing my uncle screaming on his man, like, why ain't Jabbar shooting more?
Oh,
on top of that,
Kareem was fast in that day.
Hang on. Because you know what drives me crazy? It's the inconsistency of the logic that drives me crazy. It drives me crazy because I'm watching and I'm seeing what y'all saying. You got a dude up here, Mr. Ox, who tried to convince us that Chris Webber was better than Nikola Jokic.
I didn't try to convince y'all. I just said it, and then y'all made a big deal about it. I don't care if you believe it or not. That's just my
okay. Well, let me tell you something about Chris Webber that you may not know. Ox, this could be interesting.
Yeah, Penn, get him.
Between 1998 and 2001, firmly in his prime, Chris Webber shot 40% from the field in the playoffs across 19 games. 40% from the field?
Who would have thought?
What are we talking about percentages for? What
percentages don't matter now?
What are we talking about, bro? Okay,
let Jokic shoot 40% for a game, and you would be frying him.
I have no idea what his percentage was last night. You know why? Because I don't care. I'm watching basketball. I don't need to look at the stat sheets. You think I need to look at the stat sheets to see what I'm seeing? I don't give a damn about what his percentage was. I'm watching basketball. Jokic played. I don't care if Jokic's percentage last night was 80% or 8%. He played terrible.
Why C Webber?
Really well.
Fellas, I do want to do. So I got fellas. I got 3 things I got.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
We know it's Monday. It's been a hot weekend, so we got some other things we got to address, and I'm going to get to them right now. Also, you guys know the drill. Like the video, subscribe, turn on your notification bells, do all of that good stuff. We will get to the Knicks. Moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals here in a second. Before I do that, I hate that everything had to come, I guess, around to this, because I was actually planning on showing the big fella some love and putting this on the screen just to say, shout out to Jokic for dominating the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. He's first in points, rebounds, assists, steals, stocks, double-doubles, triple-doubles, field goals. I don't see field goal percentage, though. But that's neither here nor there. Shout out to Nikola Jokic because he was indeed great throughout these first 2 rounds.
He played the most games.
So I guess totals don't really matter without context.
He played 14 games.
Good point, Ron.
Oh, so this doesn't mean anything then?
It means nothing.
Oh, well, let me get this shit off the screen.
Hang on. Yeah, it does mean something.
It means
it doesn't mean anything
because every game you play is mileage. These playoff games are extreme. I believe that Nikola Jokic. Yeah, it is mileage. It is mileage.
But that
doesn't change the ability to.
You brought up Kobe losing to Dallas, but you didn't mention he had 3 straight finals run before that series. That's a huge reason why for the struggle. And he
doesn't care much. He doesn't care much for Kobe Fluent
that time.
No, I definitely care for Kobe, just not as much as you care for Weber, apparently.
All right, Shaw.
That's a fact.
No, look, that's all I'm saying. Look, Nikola Jokic has had deep playoff runs. Last year, there was a deep playoff run. The previous year, there was a playoff run. There was a summer with Serbia. There's a very depleted roster. And yes, it does matter that he drew probably, if he had gone through one more round, I would argue he would have had the 3 teams best designed to stop him in the entire league. Yes, better than Boston, better than New York, better than anybody.
The Clippers,
number 1.
Yeah, they're in the West.
The clip. Here's how I would rank the teams as per how well they do against Jokic. OKC number 1, Minnesota number 2, Clippers number 3. If I had to stop Jokic, I would want one of those 3 rosters. And it's just unfortunate, the luck of the draw. He draws the 3 teams that are best designed to stop him, and his roster falls around him. So.
He's saying if they had won, Ron. He's saying if they had won, he would have gone.
If they had won, first of all, I think belief is a really big part of sports. Like what is that Denver Nuggets locker room looking like right now? You got Michael Porter Jr. with his shoulder busted up, right? You got Aaron Gordon talking about I might need to miss a month. You got Nikola Jokic out of breath because he's having to play 44 minutes and score 43 points just to keep him in games. You got Jamal Murray sick and not showing up for Game 7. You got a very young coach and a very young bench all around. And you are staring down the barrel of potentially battling your ass off to Game 7, all in order to what? To go in dead ass tired, exhausted, to try and face the team that you really don't have a chance against in Minnesota in the next round. No disrespect to Denver. I don't think you stood a chance. Look, I'll say this. I don't know if Aaron Gordon didn't play yesterday, I don't think y'all stood a chance.
Hold on, that's bad logic. If you're saying OKC's the toughest against Jokic, the Clippers are number 2 and Minnesota's 3, I think is what you said.
I said Minnesota's number 2.
Oh, sorry, Minnesota's number 2 and the Clippers, and he beats the 3rd and 1st team best equipped to stop him. Then there's no reason to think they couldn't beat the 2nd team that's best.
That's the mileage.
That's what he's talking about. By the time he gets to them, he's out of gas.
There's gonna be 2 worn out.
By the time he gets to them, he's out of gas.
What's that going to do with the graphic not mattering?
Hang on. This it's like y'all play any fighting games? Y'all play any fighting games where your health doesn't recover? Well, that's life.
No,
okay, your health don't recover automatically in life. Okay,
that's not true.
Why doesn't that graph matter?
Your health meter does not go back to your health meter does not go back to
Because
100
if
tomorrow.
you play more games than anyone, you're going to put.
If you take bruises,
well, I think it's a combination of playing more games and having more responsibility than anybody else too. Though.
Playing, hold on,
that's just kind of what it is.
Hold on. What's harder? Playing and continue to playing, or playing, not playing, and then trying to play again? What's harder on your body?
Playing and continuing to play.
It depends what you're not. It depends what you're not doing when you're not playing.
They would have had 1 day of rest, and I think they would have been fine personally.
The issue, the reason the graphic doesn't mean anything. Like Jokic played 14 games, and he has 21 more points than second place Brunson, who's played 12 games. So yeah, he's number one in points, but he's number one in points because he played more games.
Okay.
He's number one in steals because he's played 14 games, and Mikal Bridges, who's second, has not played 14 games.
Well, wait a minute.
That's why the graphic doesn't mean anything. When you play more games, you're gonna get more total numbers.
Well, no, because I think it's a reflection of responsibility as well, Mars. Like I think that's where I'm different.
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
Mars, I hear you, but I think both are true. You have to play more games, but I think that also speaks to what I'm saying about Jokic. Jokic has to be graded on the Jokic curve. Because that's the issue. It's like I think Jokic did not have a great playoff run relative to Jokic. But again, if a player was averaging 26, 13, 8, and 2, and did what he didn't, it would be a marvelous like playoff run. But I think that's the issue. Jokic is held to a standard, which I think is fair. I'm saying it's fair. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you because every player gets compared to their greatest self, not to the other players that they're playing against. That's part of being great. That's unfortunately that's what you got to live with.
Right. But Mars, you said that he played more games, right? I can definitely appreciate that. He did play more games. I still got to produce though. And we're up here roasting Joker because of what he didn't do in game 7. So just because you play more games doesn't necessarily mean
game 4.
Right. But that doesn't necessarily mean
he played 7 games and 4 of them weren't.
No. I think that was the shot making though. Defense was great all series. Mars, respect.
No, that's cool.
Two-way play.
Jokic wasn't great in 4 of the 7 games in this series.
Shooting. That's it.
Jokic wasn't great in 4 of the 7 games.
Matters as much as y'all say it does. That's all I'm saying.
Defense does matter. That's why I never said Jokic. I said Jokic wasn't great.
Well, I don't think that was his. I don't think that was his defense was the issue for yesterday.
Jokic wasn't great in 4 of the 7 games in this series. In 3 of them, he was great. Game 1, Game 5, Game 6, he was great. Game 2, 3, 4, and 7, he was not great.
Right.
It's more than just last night. In more than half
games
of the
2, 3, and 4, he just missed shots though.
The reason why he ain't played great.
No, I hear you, but I'm saying, but to be fair, we do the two-way thing with other people all the time, and I'm saying that he did.
That's why I never said he played terribly.
I know, I hear you.
I hear terrible because he provided value on defense.
Right, but if you start an all-defensive campaign for Jokic, I will sign it.
No, there is no campaign. For me, I think it's important, Penn, to acknowledge in particular playoff run that he was one of the best defenders through each and every series he played. That's all
defense
to a
for
different
playoffs.
standard, the all-time great
is he up there?
You agree
with.
No, you're trying to tell me that.
No, there isn't. But I'm doing the same thing everybody else is doing. I'm parsing it. I'm parsing the fact that it's a two-way sport, as Oxy said multiple times.
Did Jokic play great in game 2, 3, and 4?
Great defense.
He's trolling me today.
Facts.
He never played. He didn't play great defense. He
finally. I'm not gonna lie. You're lying.
No, wait. Let me finish.
Did he play great?
I'm saying he finally played defense. He played defense.
No, they don't finally. Played
That's
great defense.
Great for him. That's great for him. But did he play?
He played better defense than iHeart did this whole series. How about that? How about that? What do you mean so? That was all defensive caliber player this year. What are you yapping about? Chet was horrible most of this series defensively. We're gonna have a conversation about it.
Whoa,
SJ wasn't good defensively this series.
So now Chet was horrible, but yesterday he was the one. It was him that was supporting Alex.
You're kidding, right?
But which player? Chet was good. Chet was good.
Okay, cool.
SJ wasn't good.
Your own logic.
SJ wasn't good.
If those guys were terrible, then
SJ
wasn't good.
SJ wasn't good.
It kind of sinks your boat. You know,
SJ had the least responsible I've ever seen for a number one option in my life. He didn't do anything defensively this whole series.
Okay,
this entire series.
He's not a number one defensive option.
So. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I saw Kobe lock in. I saw Kobe lock in.
As your pro bono defense attorney up here, trying to help you with this Jokic.
Pro bono.
Pro bono. I'm doing this for free.
I got money. How much money you need?
I don't know. Cash.
I'll give you Oxy.
I'll give you Oxy. My PayPal is
my time.
Fluent.
So, look, as someone who's trying to help you,
can you at least acknowledge
downplaying OKC's defense is not going to help the Jokic, protection case.
They played zone because they don't have the POA defenders, y'all. Like, that's pretty simple. By the way, and they funneled to Jokic and it worked. Penn, can you at least acknowledge that SGA can't hold Kobe's water defensively at all as an on-ball defender?
Oh, as an on-ball defender? Oh, for sure.
What version of Kobe are we talking about? 2020, 2001? 2002?
No,
okay, cool.
Kobe Bryant in years
26. Kobe Bryant.
Kobe
Bryant
in
in year
09
7.
was a better on-ball defender than Shea is.
Shea did nothing. He was not even good defensively on the ball this
Shay's
year.
not a good
This isn't a conversation.
He already knows. He already knows that. Swipe. Why are you trying to? Why are you trying
No,
to?
because he put him in the Kobe defense conversations. It's not even close.
Look at that sinister look he got on his face.
better,
He want to say
Shay's
some
better.
crazy shit right now. Look at that look you got on his
Shay's
face.
better
Swipe.
off the ball, but
Leave
on
him
the ball,
alone.
Kobe clears. Like whatever version of Kobe.
But Shea didn't even do a good job off the ball this series, Mars.
Oh no, I agree. No, I agree. Shea didn't have a good defensive series, but on the ball, no version of Kobe is worse than Shea defensively on the ball. No version of Kobe.
Like,
Not any
Penn,
version of
can
Kobe.
you at least acknowledge the Nuggets were targeting him off ball consistently?
Yeah, because they want to put him in. They want to.
No,
put him in action
so
so that he will work.
That wasn't protection. That wasn't. They weren't slipping on protection to help Shea. They were simply targeting him because he
Are
was
you
the
saying that
worst
an
option, and it was working.
Okay, so Shea Gilgeous-Alexander
Yep.
is still a better player defensively than Nikola Jokic, regardless.
Not in the playoffs. Not in the playoffs. I'm saying not in the playoffs.
Oh,
He was not. That's a fact. He
you took your
was not.
you took your one friend up here.
No, there's not a friend. I'm saying you were saying the reason the
Not a
Thunder were going to win
friend
because
of me.
they're going to win in 5, in part because of SGA being in Kobe talks, and I'm saying SGA 100% was not in Kobe talks this playoff run.
Okay,
He hasn't.
SGA's been pretty good the last couple games.
Yeah, last 3 games.
If you are in the film room as
shooting.
Mark Dagnall and you have wide open threes for Case Wallace,
I saw
wide
one
open
player
threes
average
for
31
Alex,
over 78 for shooting last 3 games, and nobody brought it up. But whatever. Shouts.
wide open threes for Lou Dort all series. Wide open threes for Lou Dort. He was wide open, bro. Y'all left it wide open.
Brown and them were wide open all series. What does that mean? They made less corner threes than they did by 20% in the regular season. What does that mean? In the first round, if they make their corner threes, OKC's out of there in 6. And now what?
Shay's greatness is why y'all zoned up the middle. Shay's greatness is why y'all always had the second defender helping the gap. This is really a series where two
every
teams,
single time. Well, it's news to me.
Is it news to you?
I saw Christian Brown locking in. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I'm not locked in.
No, he said he saw Christian Brown.
Shea saw a lot of extra bodies. Both of them saw some aggressive coverage.
This is two defenses, one vastly superior to the other.
One
that
is, and
did
one
their
played-
best job to make somebody else beat them.
Yeah,
Okay?
and one had to
in
carry a
series,
significantly
hang
higher
on,
load.
And in series where the other guys actually showed up, they won, thus proving what Draymond Green said, which is championships are won between
You
roster
admit
spots
one
5 and
player
9.
had to play
is
versus
true.
a much better team than the other. You do agree with that, right?
Pardon?
You said one player did have to play much better versus like a much better team. You agree, right?
I don't even understand what you're saying right now.
Denver, Jokic playing versus OKC. He
You
had to
have
play
a very
versus a much
twisty
better
way
team.
of speaking where you try to trap people into bullshit that they're
Not
not really
trapped.
saying. I see you do it
OKC
all
is
the
much
time.
better than Denver. You agree with that?
OKC is better than Denver.
Their defense is much better than Denver's. You agree with that?
Of course.
Okay, so that's want to make,
So
just wanna
Jokic
make sure.
played against a tougher defense.
Much tougher, obviously. Well, that's true.
Well, no shit. Yeah, he did. Of course he did.
Yeah, shouts. Mars, super chats.
Me super chats.
Because no, Ron's not here. We haven't got through one super chat. I don't believe in an hour and a half.
Oh my god, there's a lot. Well, he read this one from Piccolo earlier, so we don't need to do that.
We did one.
Yeah. 6 Eva became a member. Shout out to 6 Eva. Watch Liz Zay became a member. Hunter said that lineup Adamun threw out at the top of the second might have been the worst lineup the Nuggets have run all seasons. What was that man thinking?
That
lineup. I don't know if it's that exact lineup, but a lineup without Jokic and Murray had played 4 minutes, I believe, prior to this. It was 4 minutes too many. Should never have happened. You were on the ropes. Part of being a coach is understanding your team. As much as it is understanding scheme and understanding the other team and understanding defensive adjustments and what the other team's trying to do, it's understanding your team. Knowing you are on the ropes, knowing your margin of error is less than an inch. To go out with that lineup is such a gutsy move. Just to buy an extra minute or two is insane. And again, I say it, that game changed in 2 critical spots. End of the first, beginning of the second, which proves true that how you end quarters and how you end halves is like 100% the most important thing, because how many times in this entire playoff so far have we seen a team blow a 7-point lead in a minute or go on a 12-0 run in a minute? We've seen it. And it's because teams lose focus. They totally lose focus, and they need to be redirected. The Denver Nuggets had sort of lost their focus ending the first quarter. They got a little bit complacent. They were up 10. They were like, oh, we can play around.
I don't think they got complacent.
You can't play around with this team.
Their bench came in the game, and the same story happened as every other game. That's
complacent isn't the word I'm looking at, Swiper. Complacent isn't the word I'm thinking about. I do think that, you got a routine, and I think that Coach Adelman has a routine when it comes to Joker. There's a certain amount of minutes he sits him in the second quarter. There's a certain amount of minutes he sits him in the fourth quarter. Instead of treating this like an elimination game.
No, but he had never sat Murray and Jokic at the top of the second quarter before. That was the first time he's done that. I don't know why he did that.
I don't know why he did that neither. So you can rotate your guys, play them early, and then rotate them again. Same thing in the fourth quarter. You can come out if we're losing or if we're winning. You could put Joker on the floor in the fourth quarter if this is a 1-2 possession game. I think because they had to lead the way that they had it, Penn, I think that he thought those rotation guys could just maintain that and give Joker a rest for a couple of minutes, only for it to just go to pieces.
But this is the problem. You don't play the scoreboard. You play the momentum meter. I've always believed this. Like in basketball, whether I was playing or whether I'm watching it now, I'm always trying to anticipate what the next 4 minutes are going to look like based on what the last 2 minutes just went like, right? So I'm always looking for signs, like a shot that finally goes down that wasn't supposed to go down, a tough buzzer beater, late clock turnover, a transition break, a big dunk. Like these things are swinging momentum consistently in a basketball game. So to me, the momentum meter was firmly on Denver's side. OKC looked like the lights were too bright. They really did. Like for the first 6-7 minutes of this game, they couldn't make a shot. Like they were in such a drought. And I walked into this game, and prior to the playback stream starting, I was like, someone said, "Oh, don't say nothing crazy." I'm like, OKC by 50. Like I genuinely thought OKC was going to whoop their ass in this game.
You also thought they were going to win game 6 too, and you were wrong. They lost by 12.
Okay, buddy. As the guy who picked Denver in 7, I'd shut up if I were you. And you also picked your team to lose in the first round.
Got hurt.
And
that wasn't a factor that I added in there. Like I think that matters that Aaron Gordon got hurt. I think you agree with that.
Yeah, of course. And it also matters that Chet missed 2 free throws inexplicably.
Getting hurt and missing because you're at 2 different things.
Oh my God, y'all shouldn't have been in this. Y'all should not have been in this series.
They were up 10 multiple times.
Y'all shouldn't have been in this series. The fact that you all pushed this to game 7 is a miracle.
But they
should not be in this series.
They should have. They also could have won game 4 or 5, but they were up.
This is where the OKC Thunder are as a team. This is where the Denver Nuggets are as a team.
They went to 7 anyway. Think about that.
Yes.
You know what? OKC will not go 7.
Oh my God, I'm so shocked. The experience showed up. I thought honestly the Denver Nuggets were the more experienced team. Obviously, they are the team that have won the championship. 4 of these core pieces have won the championship. Christian Brown is a winner. He is well beyond his years in terms of NBA age. I don't really give a shit. That dude is like born to win, and he showed up big time. He was probably your second best player yesterday. Legit, he was awesome.
Well, yeah.
So I look at that, and I'm just like, OKC, like I don't think any less of Denver today than I did back then. Like 3 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago.
More respect for Denver than you did going into the series.
I have more respect for them for pushing this to a game 7, and I lose a little bit of respect for OKC for how many late game blunders I saw from Mark Daigneault, from how many times I saw Chet come up short, how many times I saw J-Dub come up short. Prior to watching Denver dismantle this offense with their zone defense, I would have picked OKC in 5 against Minnesota. Right now, I don't know who's winning the next round.
What happened? OKC's going away.
You think they smoke Minnesota?
Yeah, they're smoking them. Yeah, that's a horrible matchup.
And I think both teams are a horrible matchup for each other. I think we're going to see a defensive masterclass, and honestly, I think Chris Finch is a really damn good coach.
Why is it a horrible matchup, Swiper?
Yeah, they're going to try to do what OKC does. I just don't. Their 3-point shooting is going to matter. Their 3-point shooting is going to matter.
No, they can't do that.
They're going to.
I just want to say, if Julius Randle solves this OKC defense, we are going to have some very, very uncomfortable discussions about how good Julius Randle is.
What will be the discussion?
Is he one of the top 15 to 20 players in the league?
No, that will never be a discussion. Will never be a discussion.
It will never be a discussion. He literally made 2 All-NBA teams. I think it's been a discussion.
No, 15. No, absolutely.
He's not. But Julius Randle is really good. But no.
If he is the best player against OKC, and they try to game plan him as a playmaker, and he solves that defense,
and they win. By the way, they win.
Yes, we will have to have that conversation. We will have to have that conversation.
It doesn't make him a top 15 to 20 player.
I mean, we can discuss anything we want. I mean,
It absolutely puts him in the
How do-
discussion
how-
for top
Ma-
20.
Ma-
He be in the same
Okay,
conversation.
Whoa,
Tyrese
whoa,
Halliburton
whoa,
when he was doing a hell of a lot less.
Whoa, Doc, hang on for a second, because players move up in the rankings like that. We've seen that plenty of times. So
Not you, Mister. What have you done over the last 3 years?
that is not true.
What?
What?
No. You do not get to move Julius Randle up based on a series against OKC when all for the last 2 years you've been telling me the last 3 years this guy only just became better this year, so I can't say he's better. Now we're gonna do mental gymnastics for Julius Randle.
Okay, so wait a minute. Now wait a minute. Do not suck your teeth, because like you just said, Penn, did he not make the All-Pro team over the last 3 years? Did he not just make the All-Pro team?
Third team, yes.
He still made the All-Pro team, which
I'm
means
saying third team. He made 13, and he shouldn't have made it over Lauri Markkanen last year.
That means that he was arguably a top 15 player.
J Dub's getting All NBA votes this year. He might make 13.
The All NBA team was positional back then. So what he had to do was battle with the front court players. It wasn't
which he did.
So that doesn't mean you were arguably top 15. It means you were arguably the 9th best front court player in that year. That's
arguably? That's not true.
Lauri Markkanen and him had almost the same amount of votes, though. Shill, like that was that year, 2 years ago.
That's what All NBA.
Lauri was great that season. That was his career season.
Hang on. In 2020, 2021, he finished top 8 in MVP voting.
He did. That year was his deserved year. That was his best year.
In 2023, Julius Randle made the All NBA 3rd team. Anthony Davis did not make the All NBA team. Anthony Davis was better than Julius Randle
because he was hurt. That's why.
So the point is that doesn't mean he was top 15. That's the point. Because the first name I just looked at, Anthony Davis, was better than him. Kevin Durant did not make it. He's better than him. Jalen Brunson did not make it.
Because he's better at basketball.
Kawhi Leonard did not make it.
Because he's better at basketball.
Wait, are you arguing Kevin Durant, Julius Randle?
I'm not saying that they're not better at basketball.
He also made a second team All NBA, by the way.
So what we do about top 15?
Yo,
we're talking about
Mark.
Hold on.
He also made a second team All Pro.
Hold on, Penn. Chill. Go ahead. What did you say, Chill?
In 2021, he made All NBA second.
Cool. And by the way, in 2021, last I checked, he did not solve the greatest defense of all time. So we must, So I don't know if it's because I'm crazy. I don't know if it's because I'm crazy, but here's the thing. Julius Randle is a playmaking front court player.
Yes.
Okay. And he is, I think, playing some of the best basketball of his life. I have been notoriously low on Julius Randle because of his playoff struggles. That has been the narrative in terms of why you don't want to build a team and why you don't want to pay Julius Randle. So Julius Randle not only rises in his playoff, but does it against the best defense of all time, then what I'm not going to do is be super inconsistent and be a bum and come up here and say,
15 to 20.
Julius just got lucky because OKC is trash. I'm not going to do that. Because OKC is designed to stop Julius Randle. They have rim protection. They have all the guards in the world to disrupt his passing lanes. He should average like 8 turnovers a game against this team with what I think, or 6 turnovers, 5 turnovers, whatever. If you play make through him and Ant. So Ant and Julius Randle are going up against the biggest test they've ever faced in the playoffs, in my opinion. And if they solve it, we need to have some uncomfortable conversations.
15. And my beef isn't with Penn. Penn, you can have Julius Randle wherever you want, to be honest. I don't care. My issue is with the person who's told me that it has to be a multi-year thing in order to move up the rankings. Now Julius Randle can move up the rankings with a series against OKC. That's my issue. Not with
a series. He's not moving up the rankings. Stop right there, Mark. Stop right there, Mark. Because I didn't say a series. He's been awesome these playoffs.
Okay, so Aaron Gordon has 2. Is he a top 30 player in the league? Aaron Gordon has 2. Is he a top 30 player in the league?
Better than Julius.
He's top 50.
No, but Aaron Gordon's been terrific this whole. No. Chill. I said 30. Aaron Gordon averaging 19. Hold on. Chill. Wait.
I'm not doing that.
He was averaging 19 and 7 and 4 and shooting 50% from 3 and playing the defense. Why is he not a top 30 player then?
As a role player. But
Julius Randle moving up from.
I'm gonna name players. I need to know who Julius Randle is going to be better than, assuming he keeps up his level of play against OKC.
Before you go any further,
apparently top 15 is just on the table.
Okay, wait. We're not doing that. All right, we're not doing that.
That's exactly what we're doing.
So again, Julius Randle. No, we're not doing it.
I'm going to
Tyrese Halliburton.
This is what I want to make. This is
better than Pascal Siakam all of a sudden.
This is what I want to make clear. See, he got a.
That guy was a 13 All NBA player this year.
This is what I'm talking about.
This year?
the point that I'm making is over the course of the last 3 years, like 4 years, Julius Randle has played at an all-pro level, right? He made the all-pro team twice.
No,
right?
In the last 3 years, he's made it.
Okay, he's made I'm sorry. So over the last 5 years, all right? So over the last 5 years, he's played at an all-pro level. What's been the biggest problem with Julius Randle? The biggest problem is that it hasn't translated into the postseason. It was legit in the regular season. And we got a bunch of guys who have offensive deficiencies. We got a bunch of guys.
Well, I'm saying you're asking the story of
his deficiencies were why they didn't translate to the playoffs.
100%. But now they're actually translating into the playoffs in a good way. He's cut down on he's cut down on the turnovers. Not only has he cut down on the turnovers, he shot the ball a lot better. Not only has he shot the ball a lot better, he's been better as a distributor. He's been better as a playmaker.
Why didn't you say this about Pascal last year? Pascal did the same thing to the first 2 rounds.
Let him finish.
But why did Julius start getting this boost? And Pascal did the same thing. He was great in the first round, and then he was really good in the second round, and then he was all NBA too. He's had multiple all NBA seasons. So since you brought up Pascal Siakam, have we seen Pascal Siakam this playoffs be the best player in the series? Because I can tell you right now, against the Golden State Warriors, Julius Randle was the best player in that series. What does that mean? Who did Jimmy Butler was out
against?
So we already did this. We already did this. What do you mean again? He was great in the series. He was great. Jimmy wasn't 100%. We've already gone over this. Steph Curry was not in that series. Anthony Edwards was not good in that series. Julius was the best Wolf in the series.
Draymond Green.
He was the best Wolf in the series. Sure, he was the best player in that series versus an extremely flawed Golden State Warriors team. And Anthony Edwards did not play well. I agree. We already said this. No, Pin, we've already acknowledged this.
Can we make the argument that?
But I'm saying we saw Pascal do this same thing last year for the first 2 rounds. And in the first round, he was better in that series than Julius has been in any of the first 2 rounds this year so far. He was spectacular in the first round last year. Spectacular. And then he was even good in the Eastern Conference Finals and then had injuries.
Carried by the first couple games.
But I'm saying, like, he was really good. And like I'm saying, he also has a he's getting third team all NBA bills this season. Like, but why is he all of a sudden going to be clear of someone like Pascal, who's had a very similar resume and been better in the playoffs?
First of all, you turn this into something else. One, he's not clear. Number two, who Julius Randle is becoming in these playoffs, which is what I always hoped that he would be. Now we can have a different conversation about him, which is what Penn originally said. Which we can have
15, 20 players.
We can start to have different conversations about Julius Randle. Then we get in the past.
Not Julius Randle is going to be better. Yes, Julius Randle. I'm higher on Julius Randle now than I was 6 months ago. But I've been praising him since he came back from injury. The reason there's the disagreement is because he's had top 15, top 20 player. That's why there's this disagreement. So yeah,
the players that you ran down. So the players that you ran down, Mars. The players that you
just from 10 to 20. Who 10 to 20?
No, we'll go through this. I don't need to hear an opinion on every name because we know these.
Right.
Shea is better than him. Jokic is better than him. Luka is better than him. Giannis is better than him. Wemby is better than him. Steph is better than him. Donovan Mitchell is better than him. Jayson Tatum is better than him. Tyrese Halliburton is better than him. Kawhi Leonard is better than him. Anthony Davis is better than him. Cade Cunningham is better than him. Anthony Edwards is better than him. Jalen Brunson is better than him. Kevin Durant is better than him.
Anthony Towns is better
a lot
than
of the players you're talking about are approaching their late.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Coming off an Achilles tear. Like there is
I'm having some. Sorry, I had internet, so I wasn't sure if you could hear me or not. So here's the thing. I think you guys are confusing. He's playing like a top 15 player this playoff run, and he's a top 15 player in the NBA. Because those are two very different things. He is not a top 15 player in the NBA, period. No debate. Is he playing like that right now with his offense and the defense?
Has there been 15 players better than Randle in the playoffs? No.
We can do a ranking right here now.
There hasn't been 15. There hasn't been 15 players who have played better than Randle.
Do y'all want to do a ranking right here and now?
That doesn't mean that's who he is. That's all.
No, that's if that's the conversation. If the conversation is Julius Randle's been one of the 15 best performers in the playoffs this year, sure, cool. That's like Fluent said. That's a very different conversation. To 100% might be a top 15 player.
Nobody. I'm not arguing that Julius Randle is better than James. I'm not arguing that Julius Randle is better than Kevin Durant. I'm not arguing that Julius Randle is better than Tyrese Halliburton or Jalen Brunson or Trae Young. Anybody like that? I'm not saying that he's better than those guys. However, if he keeps doing what he's doing, and to Penn's point, against this defense, against this Oklahoma City defense, and they end up advancing, we have to have a different conversation about who Julius Randle is.
But what does
For
that
sure.
mean though?
And
like,
you know,
why
yeah,
15 to
yo,
20 is
listen,
smart?
if the whole reason for this debate is because I said top 20, let me just say top 30 so y'all can
Because
you know,
we do this
like,
all the
stop
time
crashing
when
out.
Well,
guys
top
get
30
moved
is
up the
a
line.
different conversation than 20.
Okay,
though.
well, cool, because when he was traded for Conley Towns, it was I think a lot of people, myself included, kind of wrote it off like they got the significantly
When I
worse
said it was a
player,
win,
and
when
he
I-
hasn't been worse
But
than
Karl
Conley
Anthony
Towns in
Towns was
the playoffs.
second team All NBA this year though. Like he was great this whole season. Like,
Okay,
why,
but
he was
Mr.
better.
But
He
Mr.
has
What
been
about
better.
the playoffs? What about the playoffs? Yeah, like that's the playoffs. Okay, the playoffs are the narrative driver. Okay, and if you want to talk about Pascal Siakam versus Julius Randle, I think you're being very disingenuous.
Why?
Very disingenuous. I'll tell you why. Because for
Pascal's
a
been
lot.
great for the last 5 years. He has All NBA seasons in the last 5
Oh
years.
my
He's
God!
getting
Did you
third
watch
team
the
All
bubble?
NBA
Are
votes
you
this year.
insane? What are you
No,
talking about?
I'm saying
Bubble.
he's third. He's third.
Shut
He's getting
up,
third
man.
team All
Fuck
NBA votes this
down.
season.
We going back
Okay.
to when LeBron James was the best player in the league.
Oh my God. Okay, first of all, I will say this: Pascal has played way more playoff games than Julius Randle. He has never played a
All-NBA.
single playoff game in
this
his
guy-
life where
all
he's been the
defendable.
definitive first option
What?
and been good. Ever.
What does that mean? When has Randall done that?
Every year he's ever been in the playoffs, he has been the most schemed player, with the exception of this year. Okay.
He played with.
This
He,
is
did,
all-
he
and
went to
this
the
is also
playoffs 2
the
years
only
ago.
time he's played well. So I mean,
Okay, that's the point, though. That's my point. When you are the top dog, when you're the top guy, Mr. Jokic is getting
No,
triple
but
team.
Pascal was the number
team.
2 option last year, and he still played well. What does that mean? Pascal was number 2 last year and played well.
Try to understand what I'm saying. When you are clearly the other team's top
Young
target
fluent.
defensively, you are going to have a harder time scoring. So when
But-
you shift
but
away
what-
from
but-
that, Pascal
But you
Siakam is
compared
not
him as a
seen
number
the
1
first
option. You compared him to a number 1 option when he wasn't
Oh,
good.
my
Pascal
God.
wasn't a number 1 option. He was great last year as the number 2
Pascal
option with the
Siakam-
Pacers.
Okay, what I'm trying to tell you is you are comparing Julius Randle being a playoff choker as a number 1 option to Pascal being a playoff riser as a number 2 option.
No, I said player in the regular season. Is where we started.
Who
No,
was the most schemed player when Pascal was in Toronto?
Which year?
22.
The one where after Kawhi had been long gone.
22.
Pascal. 100% Pascal. And he struggled. You've
Did
not
he look
played
better
well.
than Julius
So
Randle?
the year that they played against Philly,
I mean,
was he
yo,
more speed?
honestly,
Yeah,
on
when
the-
they played
on the playoffs-
against Philly, was he
Sure.
not better than Julius Randle was in the playoffs?
Yeah. Pascal actually that was a decent series for him. But
Well,
it
I'm
wasn't some
confused
sort
then.
of
So he did
star
do it
series. It wasn't yo, Mars. Be for real. It was not a
I'm not
top
calling
10,
Pascal
top
a
15 player.
Of course he's not.
Okay,
And
but
if-
he
and-
made a couple all
and
NBA
if you
teams.
come up here saying,
If
if you came up here saying, if Pascal Siakam comes up against the New York Knicks and OG Anunoby and solves their wing defense, we're gonna have to call him a top 20 player. I would have crashed out the same way
Knicks
because that would have been a
defense?
ridiculous statement
OKC
too.
defense. That's crazy. Let's not compare
The
these
point
two
I'm
Mars,
numbers
making is
ever.
if
Pascal's
you
actually about to
would've-
do that though.
if
There
you
is
would've
no
left to a
player.
Pascal's a top
There's
20
no
player,
player on
I would've
OKC's
said
roster other than probably Nikola Topic that you can pick on the way that you can pick on someone like, I don't know.
My
Jalen Brunson?
point is, if you tried to make the same illustration of Pascal might be a top 15, 20 player after these playoffs, I would
But he
disagree.
has not been the best player for his team. How are we comparing what he's
Neither has
doing?
Julius Randle.
Julius Randle was the best player
Julius
for his
Randle-
team
Julius
in the last round.
Julius Randle was marginally better than Anthony Edwards against the Warriors.
You
And
can't.
Anthony Edwards
over the course
was
of the
better than
playoffs
Okay,
has
but
still
better
been
than
their best
hang
player.
on, Mars.
He is their
Well,
best
before
player.
we
But
walk
that's
into
not
this-
what
Been
we're
their best
arguing.
player in the
I
playoffs.
never
Before we
argued
walked
that.
into this series, we
But
thought
what does
Draymond was going to
What
have
does
a
the number
body
1
bag.
conversation mean?
At
I
least
don't
I did.
understand that.
Maybe I'm stupid, but I thought Draymond was going to be a really tough matchup because I don't know. Maybe I'm dumb, but I think Draymond is one of the best damn defenders in the league. And maybe
is
I'm
not
stupid,
ridiculous.
but I
No.
think Draymond is like the optimal matchup for Julius Randle.
And Julius Randle got his weight. Julius Randle had
Julius
got
Randle
the
had a
best
great
of Draymond.
series against Draymond Green.
Definitely
And he
did.
cooked him.
100%.
So if you cook a defensive player of the year candidate who allegedly in his own weird world thought he was the best defender in the league this year, you cook him one-on-one and they leave you on the box with him and you just fry him repeatedly. And then on top of that, you solve that one thing that everyone's always had an issue with was, you're turnover prone. You don't make good decisions. And boom, now suddenly you're making good decisions.
Why are we acting like these guys don't? Why are we acting like when guys don't do work in the playoffs, we start talking about them different than we did in the
15 to 20,
past?
15
We
to 20.
100% do that.
Problem with talking about him different. I have a problem with saying he's top 15.
You can't make a guy top 15
Playing like top
playoff
15.
run who was nowhere near top 15.
That's my issue. My issue is not
Jimmy
Jim-
Butler was an
I
all
think-
NBA
Vince
player and
Julius
then
Randle-
reached
Vince
higher
Julius
highs
Randle
in the
came back
playoffs.
from
He was an
his
NBA
injury.
player for a lot of
Paid
people.
average
Vince
5
Julius
turnovers per
Randle
game.
came back
Oh,
from
did
his
I
injury
not
in the
over the
regular
rest?
season. I've been
Okay,
praising him.
Fellas, we got one mic,
Go ahead,
y'all.
I'm sorry.
since Julius Randle came back from his injury, and I can't remember the exact moment he came back. I think it was late February, early March. From that moment, anytime we spoke about Julius Randle, I have spoke positively about him. I said the way he's being used is different. I actually think that he's being most optimally used as a playmaker, attacking mismatches. You don't have him isolating as much, and you're using his best skill set, which I think is his passing. I've praised that. Then in the playoffs, he's carried that into the playoffs, which is why every time someone's like, "Oh, why don't you apologize to Julius Randle?" It's like, I've been singing his praises for 2 months now at this point. Like, I don't know what more praises you want. But my issue is,
it's not like you were wrong.
My issue is,
it's not like you were wrong before.
What I was saying when I was saying everything I've said about Julius Randle,
Sure,
they were the truth at the time. My opinion of Julius Randle changes as Julius Randle improves. If Julius Randle plays well, I'm going to praise Julius Randle playing well.
Exactly.
Julius Randle.
You don't want to hear this.
I said Julius Randle. Julius Randle is the most overrated player in the NBA. Julius Randle is not a top 40 player in the NBA. Julius Randle is by far the worst All NBA player in the NBA. All of those things were things I was saying at the time, and I gave.
And Mars, before you go any further, I want you to stay there. But why were you saying this about him primarily?
Because of how limited his skill set was, and how exploited.
And where did you see it? That limited skill set. Where did you see it the most?
It got exploited the most in the playoffs. But
here we are in the playoffs. And he's
being used differently, and his skill set is becoming maximized, which is why I'm now praising him. Like, it's not rocket science. I'm not just going to hold on to a take I made 2 years ago and be like, oh, well, he's playing well because of luck. No, he's playing well because he's being put in a position to maximize his skill set, and I'm going to praise him for that because his skill set has real value. What I said at the time when I was saying those things, I still stand on, because at the time I said it was accurate. But now Julius Randle has shown that he's playing at a really good level. Is that level a top 15 player in the NBA? No. And does that change after an OKC series? No. But is he a really good player? Yes. So the playoffs can change your perspective of a player, I guess. Yeah, cool. Absolutely.
Sure.
But does the perspective of Julius Randle go from wherever he was to top 15? Absolutely not. And I'm gonna pose this hypothetical. Let's say Indiana beat New York.
Yep.
And they play OKC in the finals. If Pascal Siakam solves the OKC defense, is he top 15?
I'm gonna go find out that answer.
Yeah,
you out for it?
All right, Tom, good to see you, brother.
I gotta go.
Hey, you know what? I've got this water.
I gotta go get some water.
Double water.
All right.
Oh no.
Well, Mars, I feel like that question could be answered. The Swiper's point. Where has he been over the last couple of years? Where have we been? Because let's not mistake.
He's been an all-star caliber player.
Okay, right. So let's not mistake winning being a huge difference in why guys get moved up the ladder. So to your point, Pascal Siakam being an all-pro, being an all-NBA caliber player, you're telling me that he's going to get all-NBA votes this season. Yeah. So if Pascal Siakam, they go deep into the playoffs, and it's off the strength of, has Pascal Siakam been playing better than Julius Randle these playoffs?
No.
Okay, so wait a minute, Mars. I want you to stay right there. Wait a minute,
I wouldn't say he has
more.
Okay, but I wouldn't say the gap is substantial.
Well, here's what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying.
Competition is substantial.
Let's say that Pascal Siakam has been playing better than Julius Randle. Let's do that. Let's make that hypothetical. And he has been playing better than Julius Randle. They get by the Knicks, and he solves the Knicks issues. Not only do they get by the Knicks and solve the Knicks issues, they end up seeing the Minnesota Timberwolves, who bounce Oklahoma City. Okay. And he clearly outplays Julius Randle. Clearly outplays him. We have to start talking about him different than we would. We would have to start talking about him different than we would if this didn't happen.
No.
That's the only question I'm asking.
Hang on.
I'm not asking, is his reputation better now? Is he going to be viewed differently?
You said
that's what it is. His reputation is different. Are there 15 players in the game better than Pascal Siakam?
Yes.
Are there 15 players in the game better than Julius Randle? 100%.
Yes. And that was my disagreement.
I'm not going to that part.
There's 20 players better than both.
Yes. Okay. That was my disagreement. That was my sole disagreement.
But Ben, make this last point, and then we got to move on, fellas.
Look, all I'm saying is how players play in the playoffs really does tend to elevate how we talk about them. When Kawhi Leonard had his regular season in 2018, 2019 with the Raptors, I think most people said, cool, Kawhi's the top 10 player again. That's great. But then he did what he did in the playoffs, and we're like, damn, move over, KD, move over LeBron. There's a new king in town. This might be the best player we've in the league this year going in. The Clippers are getting the best player in the league. So yeah, playoffs do change.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
And okay, cool. So a lot of people said, after that he was bad, that he was a top 2, top 3 player. So I'm saying if Pascal Siakam goes up against a legendary defense and he cooks them, and they try to scheme him and he still cooks them, then yeah, you are now tested. You are now tested against the best. And if you do it at the highest level, because Pascal Siakam entered some very uncomfortable conversations after that title run. People were putting him in top 20, top 25 conversations. They were saying this is the highest scoring duo since Jordan.
Yeah. Hey, you go see it again after this championship run from Pascal Siakam.
Yes, he did.
I could guarantee you that.
I'll tell you something funny, Ron. I'll tell you something funny, Ron. I ran an NBA 2K sim like 3 months ago, 4 months ago to see how the season played out. And every goddamn time, somehow the Knicks and the Minnesota Timberwolves made it to the finals. And I did not understand what was wrong with this game. No matter what you did with the variables, somehow these two teams, the matchups weren't even set. I just couldn't understand why 2K kept putting Minnesota in the finals. The script has been read.
2K knows ball. But
maybe.
That's the best way to get your basketball knowledge is 2K. Trust me.
To everybody out there who's in here right now, all 3,500 of you, make sure you like the video and subscribe and turn on your notification bell so you can know when great shows like Chill with Chill come on. And then you can know when I do breaking news or when From the Logo comes on, or when we do a playback like we did last Friday. And we'll be up there this Friday too. So y'all stay posted, and I will let you guys know accordingly when we jump on a playback stage. But as for right now, chill, it's Monday, and that means we got to get into the top 5 comments of the week. You guys have spoken, and we have listened. So let's see what we got, fellas. Mm-hmm. First comment of the week is courtesy of Chiro,
I just assume.
Oh, my bad. I had my mind on Cheerio. 4842 said, Ron is such a casual and a L host that I honestly would rather have Molly from First Take and her annoying voice do the panel. Laughing emojis. At least she ain't pushing Twitter narratives.
Yeah, I remember this.
Wow.
Boo.
Thank you, Cheerio. We have another comment of the week from A Herbo 18, and this was from episode 556. A Herbo said, if there's a help side defender waiting 5 to 8 feet behind a guy guarding Shea, that isn't 1v1 isolation. Yes, there are a handful of moments where Russ, Brown, or AG held their ground and didn't need the help. Just like that has happened all season. If Shea won every single isolation moment, he'd literally be the greatest player ever. Nobody does that. Also, it's the second part to this. A Herbo said, but more often than not, the help defender does have to get involved. Shea has to be better, but it's not in isolation. He has to be better in transition, navigating driving lanes, getting to his spots on the baseline, and just better decision-making in regards to playmaking. Ox is simply lying about the coverage he's seen.
Mars and Swiper, because I'm a little fuzzy on this tunnel vision thing with Shea. Because when I think about Shea as a bucket getter, I mean, like that's his game. Like he gets into the lane, especially particularly in the mid-range. And not just in the mid-range, but in the mid-post. And when he's trying to get to the rim, like that's his game to score. He can pass. And he can and he will pass, but explain to me this tunnel vision thing you have with Shea that can be overexerted from time to
time. I think it comes down to he is score first, so his first instinct is going to be looking to score.
Sure.
And B, it's just Shea for me, and this is just from watching him. I don't know his actual process as a playmaker. It looks like if you tell Shea what to look for, he can look for it and recognize it when it opens up. But being able to anticipate when things are going to open up and react accordingly or anticipate accordingly, I just don't think that's part of his game. And I think early on in this series in particular, especially when Denver started throwing that zone at him, because he didn't know what to look for within that zone, you found him making bad decisions, speeding up, getting poked from behind him or where he didn't that didn't happen in the regular season, or you find him dribbling into areas of the zone that Denver wanted him to get to.
Mm-hmm.
But then as the series progressed, and I think, once again, I'm not in OKC's locker room. I don't know what actually happened. But I think what happened was in film, the coaching staff recognized, here's the soft spots, here are the soft spots, here's what we can do to maximize you, Shea, in terms of we're going to clear out this wing here, give you driving angles here. When you take the defender there, we're going to have the lob on the backside, etc., etc., etc. So as the series went on, you saw Shea being able to recognize the coverages and dissect it, in my opinion. I think he had some really great playmaking games the last couple of games of the series. And that's because he has the ability, once he knows what he's looking for, to make really good decisions. But the tunnel vision comes in where he can't diagnose those things on the fly, like a Tyrese Halliburton, a Luka Doncic, a Jokic, etc., etc., etc. And I don't like, it's a knock because like it's a flaw in his game, but like no one's perfect. And I think he navigates that hole in his game better than most who's had similar flaws, which is why I think he's still one of the best offensive players.
Would that be attributed to the system? Because when I think about what you said,
yes, yes, it's coaching for sure.
That's what I'm thinking about. Because if I'm playing in a more free flowing system, then my anticipatory skills, they get heightened because now I'm not looking for something specific. All right, things are more wide open. I'm actually I'm playing more free. I'm playing more freely. So I'm not just looking to get to the basket. I'm actually looking for guys. I'm just playing more off instinct than I am looking to just get to a spot or looking to just get to a
Shay's instinct is to score.
And right. And with his instinct being to score, he's playing in that kind of system where that's what it is. And these are the spots that we feel you're comfortable in scoring at. All right, well, if we take you away from that and we allow you to, where we open up the floor and we allow you to be freer, right? We allow you to, we allow the offense to flow a little bit more where now you can dissect the offense. Or there's a flip side to that, Mods. The flip side to that is maybe they know he's not as anticipatory as we think he is. And maybe they put him in that space where everything that you're good at, we're going to do that. But we know that you're not good at this. So we're going to take this away and we're going to enhance this other stuff.
Yeah, I don't think you want to put that free-flowing motion type thing around a guy like Shea. Like, it works for like a team like Indiana. Because Tyrese Halliburton used to read the floor so well that you don't need as much structure. Now, Indiana's weird because it's structured chaos, in my opinion, with what Indiana do. Like,
100%.
It's structured, but like everyone's just doing stuff. But there's structure and a plan. There's intention, I guess is the right word. Intention to everything they do, but it's chaotic and frantic.
It's called controlled chaos, is what it's called.
Yeah, it's controlled chaos.
Sure.
So I think Tyrese Halliburton, that works for a guy like him because he's just able to see the game in a way that wouldn't maximize Shea, in my opinion, because I don't think he dissects the floor the same way Tyrese Halliburton does. But then on the flip side, it's like if you put Tyrese Halliburton in a more structured, rigid system, you're not maximizing him because then you're taking away his best assets, which is his ability to push pace, which is his ability to just make decisions on the fly against frantic defenses and all of those things. So systems definitely benefit players, and I think OKC have done a really good job of putting a system and a scheme around Shea that maximizes his strengths and minimizes his weaknesses, and that's what you're meant to do as a team. Like, you don't want to put Steph Curry in a system where you're asking him to do something he's not the best at. Like, he's really good at a lot of things, but do you want to run an offense where you have Steph Curry playing like Chris Paul?
No, I don't.
But that doesn't mean he can't do it. Like, I'll use Dame as an example. What Dame did in Portland for years was floor raising offense that probably shouldn't have been elite, but he was able to make them elite because he was one of the best pick and roll players in the NBA. Steph Curry could do something very similar to that. Steph Curry is also one of the best pick and roll players in the NBA. But are you maximizing Steph Curry if you take away 90% of his off-ball stuff and just replace it with pick and rolls? I don't think so. Are you maximizing the rest of the roster if you do that? I don't think so. So you just got to, sometimes you got to take away a little bit from the best player to maximize the rest of the group.
Fair enough.
And I think the best teams do that really well.
Do you think they did a good job doing that? I think they did that with Ant this year.
Yeah.
Like to a umpteenth degree. I think they've done that a great job with Shea. I think they did a great job with Hallie. I think they did a great job with that with Brunson. Oh, Josh Hart. You can't defend like your ghost or your shadow. Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Mitchell Robinson, Deuce McBride. And I think that's how you win. And I think there's a common theme with all these teams outside the Knicks. They should have, I think the Celtics should have won, but they were not the better team.
The Cavs were doing that in the regular season with Mobley and stuff, and then the playoffs came around, and then they just devolved into Donovan Mitchell save us. That was great.
Their offense horrible. Evan Mobley was not ready for it. All kind of stuff.
Well, I think Evan Mobley actually played well offensively. I just think they went away from him.
Well, I think Garland.
That's a bigger issue with Donovan Mitchell and stuff, but and injuries, of course.
I think that all of these teams, the common theme is, and Jokic talked about this just after the game. They said, "What is the difference between you and the other teams that you're seeing?" He said, "You have to have a longer rotation." You have to have more guys. He self-admitted we don't have enough dudes to get into to make this work. And I think that's just what the NBA is in the CBA. Like, you got to have, like, the Pacers. The reason I think they're going to beat the Knicks, y'all, I think Hallie and Brunson are going to have some back and forths. I think that I think Miles Turner and Cat's going to be a great matchup. But chill, we got a bad day. Ben Shepherd's our 10th man. We got a bad day. Benny can give us something. We got a bad day. Jared's get in there and lock up. We got a bad day. Like, somebody can give us some. Obi Toppin, go give us 4 threes this game. Like, and I think the Knicks, it's like Brunson, Cat, everybody else works really hard. And then we'll see. Josh Hart off the bench and Deuce McBride off the bench, and let's rock. But I think the Patriots having 9, 10, 11 guys. Even Thomas Bryant can make 2 threes in the game and play their defensive scheme, and he can help you in a third quarter or at the top of the fourth. They're just going to have so many options to tap into. I think that's the difference, and I think that's why. Again, I think this is the game plan for me for next year for the team that I cover. Stop being this team. Like, you can't do this anymore. You look at the CBA, chill. You need these kind of players. I think the Wolves, they got 8 starters. They got 8 of them. Rudy can't start this series? Nah, let's get in there. Julius, you suck? Nah, let's get in there. Like, even Nickeil Bridges and Mike Conley. And you know what? Mike Conley ain't doing it. Nickeil Alexander-Walker ain't doing it. You know who I'm going to call? Hey, Jalen Clark, can you give us some minutes here? Like, they at least have options to turn into, and I think that's what the playoffs are, chill.
As much as I want to say with Indiana, with the rotation, I think that it's going to be the difference in this Knicks series. And this may sound ridiculous to you guys. I did not know the Pope went to Villanova. Oh my goodness. I did not know that the Pope went to Villanova.
What that means is for next year.
I'm sorry, Mars. The Pope went to Villanova. And it's not a coincidence.
Shout out Villanova, man.
Hey, well,
wait. Are y'all
Dante DiVincenzo's on the Wolves?
Facts.
Yes,
but wait a second. Are y'all? Am I up here alone in this Eastern Conference Finals right now?
Oh, in terms of having the Knicks?
See, Ox thinks that the Knicks are going to smoke these dudes.
I'm with you.
Ox thinks that the Knicks are going to straight smoke these dudes. I got
Knicks and 6. Knicks and 6.
That's
not smoking. That's not smoking. That's just
possible. I think to Swiper's point, everything that you guys do, right? Everything that you guys do, it's going to be work. I don't think that the Indiana Pacers, when I say work, I mean it's going to be really strenuous. I think that the Indiana Pacers have more guys that they can be just as effective with less work. And I think that the fastest team in the league, I think they're going to run you guys into the ground. I think that they're going to run you guys ragged. I think that they're going to have you guys all over the place offensively. I think this is going to be a rough series. I think this is going to be a physical series. And I think Tibbs is going to have to dig into that bench. And I don't think he wants to. And
fellas, I gotta get back to these comments.
Sure.
So
oh yeah, that's what we were doing.
Yeah, that is what we were doing.
March got sidetracked.
My bad.
But here we go, y'all. The next comment of the week is from Dash Fetch Me?
Fetchum.
Dash Fetchum. 3458. Shout out to Dash Fetchum. Episode 559. Dash said, Buddy stay getting cooked. Dude soft as fuck. Damn. Who's Buddy?
One Buddy problem. Chills, man.
No, he's talking about Buddy Hield, obviously.
That's nice.
Buddy Hield. He had a good little playoffs.
Is this last year in his contract, Mars?
Nah, I think he's got a team.
19 more next year coming? Damn.
Let me see.
Joe, you realize, but you like Buddy's good. And then you look at the contract like, damn, I got another 19 to pay him.
Buddy Hield's got, he's down for a few years. He signed like a 4-year. I want to say this is like 34, maybe.
4-year 34?
4-year 38 is what he said.
That's not bad.
That's unfortunate that people really think Buddy's soft, but shout out to Buddy, I guess. All right, the next comment of the week is from Hakeem9 or Himkeem. Shout out to Himkeem. Himkeem said, laughing my ass off, the Celtics takes aged like white women.
Depends on the white woman. Kate Blanchett has aged very well over the course of her life. But
Charlize Theron is beautiful.
Theron in her 50s. Yeah, shout out. Kate Winslet.
Theron is beautiful.
You know, she definitely, she's in her 50s now.
These individuals.
But I couldn't have.
If you're rich, chill. You can age very well.
To your point, Hakeem, I could not have been more wrong about the Celtics in this series. I could not have been. I just got the games right. Oh no, I didn't. I didn't even get the games right. Well, yeah, I did. I did get the games right. I just had.
You had a 6?
No, I had So I did get the games wrong too. I had it in 5.
I had Boston in 5 too.
Yeah, I had the Celtics in 5, so I could not have been more wrong this series.
This disclaimer on Apple TV. If you want to watch the Kate Blanchett show, it's a great show. Next comment.
The last comment of the week is from episode 560, and it's from Matthew Burke, 5044. Matthew said, and I actually 100% agree with Matthew. He said, Ox didn't get no goddamn 1,500 on his SAT. That's MIT and Harvard numbers.
I'm sorry, he got a 1410 on his SATs. I apologize.
Sure, how you know?
Why you worrying about what I know, Ron? Don't worry about what I know. Don't concern yourself with what I know.
I was there.
Do your thing. So,
still Ron though.
Ox, what'd you get on your SAT?
Who remembers their high school scores like this?
Exactly.
Ron, you know.
Exactly.
Ron, you know.
But all right. Speaking
Ron,
of
what
which,
you get on the SATs?
I ain't take
He
that.
didn't even take it. Swipe.
You take the ACT?
I ain't take that either.
Well, how do you not take either and go to college?
Swiper. Hey,
No, they're in. You
gotta have strings to pull, baby.
No, you don't. You took one of them. Please stop lying. Next
That's what you mean.
comment.
We don't have another comment, Swiper, but you know what we do have?
Super
Ox,
chats.
You got your Bible?
What's up?
Oh, we go past the real talk.
You got your holy book?
See, I don't play like this, Ron. This ain't funny.
We have to take a brief intermission. We have to take a brief intermission because a man named Pastor Real Talk would like to speak to the congregation. Hallelujah! Hallelujah! He is risen.
I don't know if y'all know this, but last year they had a game 7 in Denver and they lost. It was May 19th, 2024 on a Sunday. This year, 2025,
Lord have mercy.
they lose in a game 7, May 18th on a Sunday.
Hallelujah.
Do you want to know why? They keep losing on Sundays because they're doing black magic over there in Denver. They doing devil's work over there in Denver. And you will not win on a Sunday. You will be defeated on a Sunday.
Amen.
The devil will lose.
That's book.
On a Sunday.
That's book.
Now let's get to number 15. Because I saw number 15 getting along. I want to go a little higher. I saw number 15 getting clamped by guard. I saw number 15 getting clamped by Caruso.
Tell the truth and shame the devil. Hallelujah.
I saw number 15 getting clamped by a 6'4" nigga. But I'm supposed to believe he better than Shaq. He better than Steph. He better than Jordan. He better than LeBron. Hell no. You're supposed to be 2018 LeBron. I saw them tweets. He's supposed to be 2018 Bron. 2018 Bron.
Hallelujah.
Didn't get eliminated the second round. I want to go a little higher. 2018 Bron. Didn't get eliminated by a game of 76er type niggas. They can't shoot, can't dribble. All they got is fouling and knock off Kobe. Oh, wait a minute. I want to go a little higher. Because I remember when they were saying he better than Kobe. Well, they were telling me I'm up now. They were telling me he better than Kobe. He's gonna be knocked off Kobe. He's gonna be number 7, number 23 and a half. But he better than Kobe. But the truth has been revealed.
Hallelujah.
Yeah,
Hallelujah. He
this
is risen.
crazy.
He is risen.
I ain't gonna lie. Real talk really got action. Like if
He knew got it, don't he? He got action, don't he?
If this don't work out for him, he could get up in that pulpit.
Hey,
I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, man.
I done seen many a pass
sanctified
in my
this
day.
morning,
pass
boy.
the talk. Pass the talk.
Many a passes in
Thank
my
you.
day. Real talk up there
Thank
with the
you.
best of them.
Pass
Whew.
the talk.
Man.
Yes,
Yeah, if
sir.
y'all didn't get to church yesterday, well, you got your weekly dose of the word. So you're welcome. All right, y'all.
You wrong. You wrong playing with the word like that though, Ron.
Amen.
You wrong for that.
that was book. Hey, he was speaking from the good book.
Mm-hmm.
Go on, brother. I don't want no parts of this. Go on.
But y'all, before we get on the super chats, I would like to talk about Game 6 and what the Knicks did to the Celtics. If you guys have anything that you would like to speak on with that game, I know you guys watched it on Playback.
What game?
Game 6.
Mm-hmm. It was just an ass whooping of epic proportion, straight up and straight down. I mean, what else can you say except the Knicks had all the energy, they had all the fight, they had all the firepower. I mean, I think that was a collection of guys who were not gonna be denied in that game whatsoever. I mean, they came out and they did everything that they were good at. Shot the long ball from Cat, played defense great. They got on the glass. They kept Luke Cornett off the glass. They did everything that they could to keep the ball away from Derek White. And when he did have the ball, they had a hand in his face. They made him make tough shots. Drew Holiday was consistently tested at the rim. I mean, this team on every level did everything correct, or for the most part, did everything correct to win that game. And it was just an epic ass whooping, no doubt about it. And I think they knew going into that game, I think they knew, we can't go back to Boston. We can't. There's no way we can go back to Boston.
Shout out to the Knicks. They came out and hooped. Dominated the game from start to finish. Full credit for that.
Mm-hmm.
Mitchell Robinson played like 10 minutes and was some of the most impactful 10 minutes I've seen. Mikal was good. Brunson was good. OG started off slow, but then he picked it up. Crazy that I was seeing them still in the game in the fourth quarter, but that's neither here nor there. The Celtics should be ashamed with the performance they put forth.
Mm-hmm.
Jaylen Brown was terrible. Derek White was terrible. Drew Holiday was terrible. Luke Cornett was bad. Al Horford was bad.
They were terrible too, Mars. Don't say bad. They were terrible too.
Sure, yeah.
Yes, they were terrible
Kristaps
too.
Porzingis.
Get Porzingis off the floor. He killing us.
I don't know if Al Horford and Jalen were necessarily terrible. They didn't play good. Everybody else was so terrible though. Jalen was trying his best to carry.
Jaylen Brown was terrible.
Yeah, he wasn't good at all. Y'all know I'm trying to throw. I'm not even gonna try to throw him no bill. I don't think he was good, but I mean, he was just trying to carry a squad that he can't carry.
He tried. He tried. He fouled out in the third. He had like 5 turnovers. It wasn't great.
What he was like 8 for 20.
Yes,
sounds about right.
20?
Yeah.
I've seen better.
Whatever illness Porzingis got going on needs to be figured out just so they can trade him.
I sure hope that shit ain't contagious, Mars.
If it was, then
Is
it
what
may be
Magic got
contagious because
contagious?
it looked like the rest of the guys got it.
Yeah, so that I'm
couldn't run.
off
They couldn't do anything.
Porzingis. I'm off Porzingis. I think they need to move him, obviously for the second apron stuff. So I'm off Porzingis. I'm also at this point I'm off Drew Holiday. So for me, both of those guys gotta go.
Wow.
Off of Drew, why?
Because he got extended for like 4 years at $35 million a year, and he's 34.
We probably can't do that.
Bad contract.
Yeah, well,
Drew Holiday hasn't been great this year. Last year in the regular season, he wasn't great, but then he picked it up in the playoffs. It was like, oh, Drew Holiday can still do it. He was just saving himself for playoffs.
He still was elite on the defensive side of the ball, though. He was. He still was elite.
It depends on the bar for elite, because I mean, what you're asking from Drew Holiday is to be the best guard defender in the sport, and he hasn't been close to that level in 2 years in Boston.
Well, Mark, because I thought that they were going to have to come off with KP and Drew regardless, right? At the end of the season.
Yep.
But and I know that the money's not necessarily going to change just because JT got hurt, right? But since JT got hurt, what are the Celtics still like? What do they do now with those two? Like, I mean, I know the money doesn't fix it, but what are they doing? You know what I'm saying? Those two still got to go.
I don't know how long JC's going to be out. My assumption would be next year is a year where you try to make the playoffs, but you obviously know you're not winning the chip without Jayson Tatum. So you play it out, but you got to think long term. And Drew Holiday signed a 4-year, $135 million extension.
But he's back to the playoffs.
He's not. If
and don't leave out, Mods, that Jaylen Brown.
I'm not paying him that much money. I'm not.
Don't leave out, Ox, that Jaylen Brown. He's got a torn meniscus. So
I'm thinking optimistically for JB. For Jay, as far as JT goes, he's not in my mind for the next season.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I'm not thinking about for the next season at all. If he comes back anytime, that's a plus. That's great. I don't want to rush him back at all. I'll damn near force him to sit down. Like, nah, bro, you think you come back in February, March? Nah, you're done. You're done. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't even play around with it. So as far as my mind is made up, as far as they don't got JT next year. JB, they said they're still looking to see if he has to get surgery or not. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I'm pretty optimistic that he'll be around, earlier, sooner than later, right? So I'm just kind of thinking like, what's their direction now? So like, what are they looking for when they move off of Drew and KP?
Peyton Pritchard All NBA season loading, obviously.
Yeah, but Pim, if you move off of Drew, you move off of KP, Pin. Where are you going? Like, what are you looking for? What do you think you need to do to shore up this type of roster?
The problem is there's certain assets in this league that I would consider positive assets. And there are a lot of assets that I consider negative assets. Bradley Beal is the ultimate example of a negative asset. Right now, Paul George is a negative asset. I think what Mars is saying is at 34, 35 years old, Drew Holiday, while a very good player, and people don't want to hear this, that's a negative asset. That's not an asset that you're going to get anything back for. That's
depending where you are, though. Depending where you are, Pin.
The team might still be
here's when it comes to CBA, everyone is in the same spot. There are certain teams like Detroit that have a little bit more cap flexibility. So maybe they can absorb a contract like Drew Holiday and say, hey, this puts us over the top next decade. This is exactly what we need.
That would be an amazing fit.
You know what I mean? Sure. So you're going to have to find a team that is under the cap. You're going to have to find a team with cap space. The problem is there aren't a lot of teams with cap space. There aren't a lot of teams that are willing to push themselves. And then you have, two very big contracts in Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum, right? And a lot of people unfairly believe that Jaylen Brown is like a top 15 player. I don't think most people in the league think he's a top 15 player, but he's paid like a top 5 player. And that to me is the skew. So now you're going to have to find a team that genuinely has the type of assets that you could actually move them. Just say if you wanted to move them. Jordan brought up the Houston Rockets. Jaylen Brown from the Houston Rockets.
He said the Jaylen Brown, Jalen Green thing.
The Jalen Green and Reed Shepherd and Cam Whitmore or some sort of package for that. I think you're just gonna have to find the right team. It's just there aren't a lot of teams that can absorb a $60 million contract like that. And the other thing you're gonna have is
y'all talking about trading Jaylen Brown right now?
He's talking about trading Jaylen Brown. I'm still on Drew and Porzingis.
What I want to do that for?
That has been a thing though. Like
it makes sense.
It's been a thing for like 2 seasons now.
Jaylen Brown is going to be making
the people who bought.
Everybody is talking about this summer being the summer that they have to make moves.
Well, the people that bought the Boston Celtics did not buy the Boston Celtics to lose $500,000 a year.
No, they did not.
$1 million.
$500 million.
Sorry, $500 million a year.
Correct.
Sorry, I'm thinking in my small time, normal human being terms. 500 million, which is absurd money.
I'd be pissed. So.
Yes.
There you go. So you gotta move somebody. The problem is you're not moving Peyton Pritchard because he's super cheap, right? You're not moving, Sam Hauser, Luke Cornett. They're super cheap. You're gonna have to move one of your big contract value guys. The guys who have positive value, in my opinion, are Derek White and Jayson Tatum. The guys who have neutral value or maybe negative, slightly negative value are Jaylen Brown. The guy who has like really negative value, I think in this CBA is probably Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday.
Porzingis is expiring next year, which is why I think you have some. A team might take on Porzingis because it is an expiring contract.
But then you got to match. You got to match.
And for you guys that are listening, and for you guys that are listening,
that doesn't help. If you want to get off money, you got to take a contract that's less, right? Which means the other team has to take more.
Sign and trade, man. We need that Kuminga sign and trade.
And for you guys that are listening, just so you know, Porzingis is not expiring. His contract is expiring. He's still going to be around. So just so you guys know, he's not going anywhere. Let's be clear about that. So,
can we get off these AIDS rumors?
Yeah, it's nonsense. But with that being said, Pin, if you can indulge me for a second, I watched Drew Holiday get moved from New Orleans to Milwaukee. They upgraded that spot. It was the perfect point guard in terms of what he did. He was the perfect piece for them.
What year was that?
This was in 2021.
Okay,
good. This is in 2021. So then 2 years later, we move over to Boston. He's an upgrade to Marcus Smart. Now, does anybody up here think that Drew Holiday is still one of the better guards in the league?
Yeah, I do.
Define one of the best ones. How many guards?
When I say 30, how about 30?
Oh, easily.
Point guards and two guards is what we're saying?
Yes.
Guards.
Yes.
Top
One of
30
the
guards.
better
Yes,
guards.
he's one of the
I
top
don't think there's 30 guards in the league.
Probably, yeah. I don't have a list, but it feels like he'd be in there.
I don't think there's 30 guards better than him. What I'm getting at is there's a window here in Minnesota where I think if you move Drew Holiday over to Minnesota, we can possibly do something.
For what?
That's the thing that I'm thinking about. The thing I'm thinking about in Minnesota. So Minnesota already moved off of Cat. That was for money issues. Julius Randle, not Julius Randle, I'm sorry. Drew Holiday, I think Minnesota is at a space where like they're not interested in absorbing $50-60 million deals. They're not interested in doing that, which would explain why they moved off of Cat's $220 million contract. But something like what Drew Holiday has for a short window where we did this for 2 years and then we maximized this 2-year window and we were able to come off some of these kids that we had, maybe Shannon, not just Shannon, but I know Naz Reid is up. So Naz Reid wouldn't be involved in the deal. So
Naz Reid is due for a very, very major pay raise.
Yes.
And
I don't think the Celtics are
Miles
interested in
Turner
that.
is also due for a major pay raise. So that takes two teams that are in the conference finals right now, in the Indiana Pacers and the Minnesota Timberwolves, who have really, really big pieces that they must re-sign. And pieces, by the way, that a lot of people would love to have. Naz Reid and Miles Turner are viable, very interesting players. Nikhil and Nas,
he's up two swiper.
Yeah,
He
and
only
he's
signed a 2-year, $9 million deal, I think.
which is
got him on the cheap.
criminally insane, and quite frankly, one of the best deals in the league, given how good Nikhil is. So
Who would have thought?
these players are why Minnesota moved off of Cat, because they didn't want to lose him for nothing in free agency. So they thought that, hey, if Julius Randle plays like, I don't know, $30 million player, if he opts into that player option,
Which he's
it's
not,
half,
by the way. I need my money.
So who is he signing with?
Minnesota. They'll go. I think they'll go to 160. I do.
How much?
160
4 years?
4 years.
I think they'll go to 160.
4 years, $40 million for Julius?
I don't think so. I don't think
Boy.
I mean, I'd pay a top 15 player $40 million.
I think they'll go to. I think they'll go to
$40 million a year.
I
he's
mean,
at 30. I think he's at 32 now.
Swiper, Brandon Ingram just got $40 million a year.
You think Brandon Ingram is one of the ones?
I think he's awesome, but
I think both of them are players I don't want to pay $40 million a year to. Respectfully.
Would you rather pay Michael Porter Jr. $35 million?
Well, that was 2022 when he got that contract. So at the time, when they thought he was going to be what he was, that was fine. I think he diminished.
Yeah, but at the time, the cap was what it was, and today, $35 million is like equivalent $45 million. There has been yes.
No, I think Porter. Remember, to be fair, Porter coming off that year, that last half of the year, he was averaging 23 and 7 on like 50-50-90 or 50-50-80.
You do
so
understand.
They were hoping he was going to
right? You know that, right? You know the cap.
But they were hoping he was going to ascend. He was 23, 24. Well, because he brought him to go back to Brandon Ingram for some reason.
What I was thinking, I'm thinking about Drew Holiday getting moved to Minnesota, because you guys talked about what's the plan for the.
It won't happen because
financially, I just don't think
why would they do that? It won't happen because Julius is going to have a new deal, and at worst, it's going to be on par with the deal he already has, but he's going to get an extension. So the only reason to opt out of a player option after a really good tournament, after a good playoff run, is to get more years of security, because he's past 30, and if he plays into the player option, let's just say he's crazy and he opts into his player option and he has a really bad year next year, he might be a $20 million player the next year. So if I'm Julius and I'm his agent, I'm telling him, opt out of the player option,
we're not
opt out and get the years. Get 4 years, 120. Get 4 years, 130, 140, whatever you want.
So the Aaron Gordon contract, basically,
roughly. Yeah,
I was thinking like between 150 and 160.
Either way, it's less than 60 million. It's less than 60 million that Cat's making. So I'm good on that. And that
32
money,
32. You said, Mars? Go ahead. I'm sorry, Penn. Keep going. I apologize.
And that extra money allows me to hopefully sign Nas to about 25 million, 20 million, 25 million,
so
and allows me to sign maybe if my ownership group, believes,
what do you want to do? You want to get into the Boston territory without winning a title? Like they're not as good as Boston, I think.
Well, we're not paying anybody. Nobody over here is making.
But they'll be a second apron team though. Like that's the issue. They're still going to be second.
Yeah, but they believe they're contenders right now.
I know, but I'm saying the issue is going to be the luxury tax bill on top of. I don't think they're winning a championship with that roster at that point. So that's what I'm saying. I don't.
Ant's making 45 next year.
I got news for you. If they get past OKC, they're winning the championship this year.
I don't think they're getting past OKC. Is my point.
What's Rudy on the books for? Rudy got to be on the books for. So Rudy's on the books for 35.
Yeah.
Jaden's going to have 25 next year.
And I think Rudy's eligible for an extension as well.
Right there.
They're getting expensive really quickly, but the Patriots are right down the street. OKC's right down the street too. So I mean, it just is.
But also, when you think about it, like the worst thing you want to do is you don't want to sign up for like 4 years of hell. Rudy Gobert, when does his contract expire?
I think in
2020.
2 years.
He got a player option in 28.
Yeah.
Oh damn.
2 years.
Okay, so he signed up long term.
So he's got 2 more years left on his deal, and the player option is in 28.
Fellas, yeah. I want to rewind to Boston right quick.
Yeah.
I think it could be a year with Boston where it was very similar to the year Steph got hurt. Or no, that was the year that Clay got hurt. And then they shut Steph down. Yeah. I think it could be very similar to that, just depending on the duration of time.
They're not in the West. They're not
try to retool around and try to retool.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is, it's really no rush. I know everybody wants to win right now.
Yeah,
but sometimes you got to take a step back to take.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown got a meniscus.
I agree. I would use next year as a gap year.
If they get the surgery on Jaylen Brown, like now, he would be out until December. Like, so then they could literally just take him and let him get healthy, and then or they can wait and then shut him down in a year if they want to.
If we lose with Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum, this season is
no. I would use next year as a gap year. Just get everyone.
JB has a torn meniscus.
See how bad do you see how bad the East is?
No, but they're not winning, right?
If Giannis leaves Milwaukee, and he goes out west, let's just say hypothetically he goes out west because he wants to stay east. Apparently, he wants to go to Toronto or Brooklyn or whatever. But let's just say Toronto and Brooklyn can't compete with the offer that Houston can or San Antonio can, and so San Antonio gets them. Cool. So now Giannis is out, Dame is out. Okay, that's one team that's off. Philly, I don't know what they're doing with Embiid. I've heard he could be medically retired by next year. I have no idea. So you take Philly out of the contention window. Who are you out tanking?
They're not better. They're not better than the.
But when the Warriors gap year, they gapped in the West, and they got a number 2 pick for it in James Wiseman. They really bottomed out.
Well, number 1,
yeah,
they
made Golden State drafted wrong. They got the number 2 pick.
Yeah,
the tanking worked. They drafted incorrectly.
Correct.
So Boston drafted pretty well.
They do draft really well. And if they get Jaylen Brown back mid-year, they're not winning a ring. It's going to be the same story.
Hang on. Why are we counting out Jayson Tatum? Because
he has an Achilles tear. He's out until 2026.
Hang on. One second.
I think he should be out for the whole year.
He should be out.
Number 1.
If they sit him out the whole next year, I want you to think about this. I'm pro player here. Think about this. He's going to have May to next October. That's 17
October
months.
of 27 is when we'll see.
That's what I'm saying. That's 17 months to get fully healthy and be 100%. They should not rush him back at all in any way, shape, or form.
October 2026 is what you see.
Yes,
first of all,
26.
Just so I can understand, Swiper, how long do you think an Achilles tear on average takes to come back from?
No, I know he could come back next year. I'm saying he should not come back. He's going to be 70% of what he was. His explosion's not going to be there. He will be a diminished player, and I think it'll be better for him and for Boston to reset their assets, to let him get 100% back, miss the entire age 26 season, come back at 27 years old. With nothing on his ledger,
well, he's 27
years old in his prime, going forward, and then have to worry about anything else. And you can give him a full year off. I want people to realize this: Tatum, Jokic, Harden, and among the stars. I think those three have all played the most games in the league among the stars since 2017. You get Tatum an entire break, and he comes back at 27 years old with 10 more years in front of him. No, I'm saying this is his age 26 season.
Isn't he 27 now? Didn't he just turn 27?
Jason Tatum right now is 27. October of 2026.
He'll be 28.
But I'm saying that would be his age.
Still a pup, still young.
His age 28 season.
That's what I'm saying. So
there's no way he should play next season, Swiper. What you're saying is absolutely correct.
I think he should take a leaf out of the Kevin Durant.
Chill. 20. You get to restart your career at 28 with more assets. Tatum could come back and be like, I got even more in my pocket next year. Even more.
Well rested, Swiper. Well rested. Well recovered.
With a top 10 pick to boot in a deep draft next year.
And you know what he gets to do? Do you know what he gets to do, y'all? He gets to work on this up top. He gets to watch the game. He's gonna be able to watch so much more basketball. You know, I think for a player of his caliber physically and what he can already do as far as ability on the court, being able to watch and see is going to do wonders for his game. I'm telling y'all, being able to watch does wonders for your game, especially when you already got that.
In your career, and Chill and Ron, because y'all played a lot. Think about if you're a professional basketball player, and Ox you were, and Ron you were, and Chill, I know you, whatever. I'm saying, just think about if you had a long-term career. Sure. Ox, if you guaranteed, I told you you're going to have 15 years to play in high-level basketball in the EuroLeague, and I told you get a full season to rest your body.
It's really nothing like it. It's really nothing like it.
You don't got to do nothing.
I wouldn't even need any guarantees. I just think it's just common sense. I mean, especially if you're looking out for yourself, you're looking out for your well-being, looking out for your future. Yeah. You know, life after sports too. I think it's just common sense. There's no possible way that you should even consider coming back from a situation like this.
There's a big difference here. Jason Tatum.
What did you say?
Jason Tatum's not a loser.
What are you saying?
What does that mean?
He's not going to agree to this. He's not sitting out an entire year.
He got hurt in the playoffs in the second round.
And he got surgery the next day.
Who is a loser, Pin?
Someone who agreed to tanking a season for while
it's
they're
not
in their
Kevin Durant's a loser.
Kevin Durant's a loser. David Robinson is a loser. Kevin Durant.
Hold on, wait. That was organizationally structured. David Robinson, what could have come back? They told him sit because there was a generational talent at the top of the draft, and they didn't have a.
And guess what, man? We might have one in this draft coming up, and we don't know.
If you don't move Jaylen Brown, and you don't move Drew Holiday, and you don't move Al Horford, you still got a championship window. The East is depleted. What everything y'all saying
Brown has to get surgery himself.
The East is loaded. Hang on,
Jaylen Brown needs surgery. He has knee surgery.
Okay, cool, and he's out till November, December. Okay,
but hold on. But is Kevin Durant a loser, Pin?
Yeah, it's Kevin. That's the answer I want. Is Kevin Durant a loser?
Kevin Durant was
KD a loser?
No,
just
KD was over 30. KD was over 30, and he got re-injured while he was rehabbing. So let's not leave that part out.
Okay, is Paul George a loser?
Sure. You told me he was a loser.
No, I didn't. I never said that. Paul George tore his bone. His bone literally broke in half. And then he literally sat out for a whole season plus. Is Sean Livingston a loser? Sean Livingston stored ACL, PCL,
don't even entertain that boost. Don't even entertain that.
Protecting
your future. Hold on. No. Ox nothing. Real Swiper. When you're a $500 million man, you protect yourself. You protect your body. Being a loser is playing with your career when you got a family to feed. That's being a loser. Really, like a man's not a loser because he just literally popped his Achilles in the second round of the playoffs, and you're talking about unless he comes back next season, he's a loser because these people decided to pay Jaylen Brown all this money and stuff. If they got a championship window, they were already losing in the second.
Is Kyrie not a competitor?
Regardless,
okay.
Is Kyrie not a competitor?
Let me express this to you. Jason Tatum does not lose basketball games. Jason Tatum has never had a losing season in his NBA career. Jason Tatum does not agree to fucking lose. And the Boston Celtics do not agree to fucking lose.
He's not playing. He's not losing.
You're talking about a top 10 pick.
Okay, I'm not. Other teams are going to be way worse than them. No, Penn. We're not doing that because what I'm not doing is I'm not playing and I'm not throwing games here. What I'm doing is I'm sitting out and I'm ensuring our future.
No, hold on, chill. Wait a minute, chill. Respectfully, hold on. This is what I'm not going to do with athletes, y'all. I don't care if there's anomalies. Ox, I saw Cam Akers come back from an Achilles tear in 6 months and look horrible. He looked horrible. I've seen NFL players come back from Achilles injuries a year later and look horrible.
Wasn't ready.
If you tear your Achilles, that is a tendon that needs time to fully repair, and you need to rebuild your muscles, your leg strength, your techniques, your mechanics. If you decide to take a full year off after tearing one of the most important parts of your body, why are you a loser for sitting on the bench to allow your body to get fully healthy? And then next year, take the full year off knowing I'll be 28 when I come back. Do you know what Jordan had done in the NBA? As a winner, by the time he was 28, nothing. Hadn't won anything. Yeah, and then he won when he was 29 years old. LeBron hadn't won jack squat before he got to his second year with the Heat. He's already on pace in terms of winning totals, like accomplishments, to be able to still stay on track with LeBron and other all-time great leaders like Magic and Bird and the rest of them without playing next season. So this is what I'm saying. You have the whole future in front of you. 10 years to win 4 more rings. Mm-hmm. If you just simply let your body rest and allow for yourself to get to 100% and come back even better. But why would you be qualified as a loser if you choose to look out for the best interests of your body?
You're cooking water right now. You trying to
make me say something that I didn't say.
Okay, you think that I'm saying if he doesn't come back, he's a loser. What I said was he is a winner. He's not a loser. So when you go to him and say, hey, Jayson Tatum, do you want to take an entire year off so that we can tank for lottery balls? He's going to say, I'm coming back.
Not why.
Not sitting down so you can tank. He's sitting down because he ruptured his Achilles.
Yes, that's why. It's not because
you're not saying Jayson Tatum. Do you not want to play this year so that we can get a good lottery pick? You're saying Jayson Tatum. You're not playing this year because you ruptured your Achilles in May.
Your body can
come back.
No, it shouldn't even be a question. Like there should be no asking Jayson Tatum. Do you want to play or not?
If he can come back
to play in the playoffs,
yeah, because he'll be rested. He'll have rested for next.
But he will not look anywhere near like he looks right now, though, at all in any way.
So what's the gap? 10 months, 12 months. What's the gap? 10 months.
What do you mean? What is the gap? He's not going to be the same player by next May.
What does he look like, Penn? What do you think Jayson Tatum looks like?
I think Jayson Tatum is
16 months.
Honestly, if I look,
that's what I was about to say. So, Penn,
if I look at all the players around the league, of all the players that I think could sustain an injury like this and come back at least marginally relatively close to the player they were, I think Jayson Tatum's right at the top.
Okay, marginally 70%. That doesn't mean anything. No, he's not going to be the same player.
Let's just say
no player comes back in an Achilles, and as soon as you step on the court, chill, you're right back to being an all-star, all-NBA level player. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way.
And because KD was pretty.
No. Kevin Durant took 17, 16 months off.
He got re-injured. Stop bringing that shit up.
What do you mean?
His hamstring got. No. His hamstring got re-injured.
You want to bring up Clay's timeline as well? Oh, he damn near missed 2 years. He got re-injured too.
Okay,
Clay tore his ACL and then tried to come back and got hurt and tore his Achilles in a scrimmage.
Yes, you need a doctor to talk to, bro. The average recovery time.
Who needs a doctor? Somebody that's been injured, physically been hurt. I've been on the gridiron with injuries. I know what this feels like, and I'm telling you, if you think somebody's a loser, but sitting out, you're wrong.
He's seen it in football.
You're wrong. I've seen people on the training. They have been out for a year with injuries like this. This takes time. And again, I'm telling you, as somebody who put a pounding on their body, when you step back on the floor or on the gridiron as a player after hurting yourself, you're not the same player.
Tatum.
And I'm talking about Tatum.
Right.
I'm talking about
Tatum. Don't have access.
We've seen players do this.
We have seen other
modern medicine is one thing, 100%. But the mindset of a player, an elite athlete like Jayson Tatum, I want to be able to be my best version of myself. So how much better do I look in 17 months with a whole season? Well, how much better do I look? How much better do I look in October of 2026 as opposed to May or April of 2026 when I haven't played a whole season and I'm going to come back for the playoffs? How much better do I look when I got the entire season plus the whole summer to get myself correct? And then here we are in October of 2026 and I'm opening up training camp and I'm ready.
Look,
as
Chill,
opposed to
you'll be fine, Chill. I simulated it on 2K one time and it worked perfectly fine. So it's okay, Chill. Trust me.
Jamal Murray could have come back in the 2021-22 season. And by the way, he said he couldn't because I'm not doing it because I'm not fooling myself. I would be hurting my team.
Upstairs,
he literally said that.
Yet. He wasn't there yet.
He was able to play 5-on-5 though. He was playing.
How many times do I have to come on? How many times do I have to come on one of these episodes and tell you this is exactly what's going to happen? Y'all tell me I'm crazy, and then 8 months later, that exact same thing happens.
No, Pin.
Bookmark this video. Jayson Tatum ain't missing the whole fucking year.
Your language. You said he's a loser.
No,
if he doesn't, he said he's not a loser.
Stop putting words in my mouth, bro.
You literally hold on. Ron, this is
not a
he
loser.
Literally said to us that Jayson Tatum's not a loser, inferring that if he doesn't come back to play next year, that is a loser's mentality. That's what you inferred or what you said. I'm challenging what you said. If he decides to come back, he is a no. If he decides to come back, it's because he chooses to come back. I'm not attributing winning or losing to any of that. If he feels ready to come back, that's on Tatum. But what he's not going to be is be a loser for not coming back if he chooses to not come back. Is my whole issue.
In fairness, Penn, I think Penn was more so saying that Jayson Tatum is so much of a competitor that he's going to come back and play. You know what I'm saying? I think it might have came out extremely one way. You know what I'm saying?
And then he got asked directly, is KD a loser? And he said yes to one of these players being asked. So what does that mean?
Well, I'm not his defense attorney. I was just saying, maybe we win. Maybe we heard
KD
something.
KD got re-injured. KD is not a loser. KD is a fucking 2-time champion. He's not a loser.
What did Kevin Durant? Because I've been scouring the internet. What did he injure during his Achilles recovery? I can't find
nothing. He didn't.
I can't find any information on KD.
That was Clay. That was Clay.
He came for his Achilles when he was trying to ramp up.
So nothing. When he came back,
I'm not saying you're lying. I'm saying
he had a setback.
I've been looking for the.
He had a setback in the middle. There's no precedent for a player missing 18, 19.
So you're just projecting he had a setback. You don't actually know.
I know he had a setback.
And
what was the setback?
Where's that reported?
Like in the recovery of his Achilles?
I'll look for it and I'll post it in the comments.
Thank you, because I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying I've been looking.
What you got to look for? You don't know?
No,
I'm of the
Pin. Don't go.
I looked up Kevin Durant injury. I looked up Kevin Durant injury during his rehab. I looked up why did KD not play in the bubble. I looked up basically any Googleable term you could find to find a Kevin Durant injury coming back from his Achilles. I can't find anything. The reason he gave for not wanting to play in the bubble was A, he was still recovering from his Achilles, and B, he had some concerns about like how safe the bubble actually was.
Well, that's the reason
that I can find out why KD didn't play in the bubble. And I think KD, and I don't know KD personally, I think KD just thought it would make more sense when Brooklyn weren't actually going to do anything in the playoffs in the bubble that year to just come back in the 2021
Max
season.
said you think you're talking about Boogie Mars.
Oh, maybe. Maximally healthy. I think Kevin Durant, and I don't know Kevin Durant personally. I know he sees a lot on the internet. Maybe he can confirm or deny. I think Kevin Durant thought it would make more sense instead of coming back in the bubble a year after his torn Achilles on a season that quite frankly weren't going to go anywhere for Brooklyn to come back in the December 18 months after the injury and give yourself more time off. I think that's probably what happened. And I think he looked great because of it. I also think Jayson Tatum and Kevin Durant are quite close. So I don't know Jayson Tatum personally. I do think Jayson Tatum has probably spoken to Kevin Durant and asked how did he go about managing the process of a rehab of a torn Achilles. And I wouldn't be surprised if Kevin Durant said something to the effect of, don't rush it. Take your time. I wouldn't be surprised, bro. Now, I don't know any of these guys. I don't know them. So maybe I'm way off base. But I would like to think that's a reasonable thing to project. But I don't know. So maybe. But I think it's in
if I'm misremembering KD's timeline, I know that he worked exceptionally hard to come back. I know that he is one of the biggest examples of what goes right when you come back. And you can use that as a projection, but he was damn near close to 30 when he got injured. Right?
Yes. 29.
So Jayson Tatum, in my opinion, is not an athlete that relies on burst. He is closer to Kevin Durant in terms of the physical profile and how he plays than a lot of the small guards who might get injured, the quick twitch guards who get injured and don't come back anywhere close to themselves. I think his game progressed a lot as a playmaker and a thinker of the game this year.
Jayson Tatum's extremely athletic.
Yes,
I'm not saying he's
Extremely
not.
athletic.
I'm not saying he's not
No,
athletic.
relies
I'm not.
heavily
I'm not saying he's not athletic,
feels
Ron.
like a reach.
I'm saying
his game for sure relies on Bird.
At least an
hold
8
on.
Mars in terms of
How
math.
often
I think
have
he's
I
an
seen?
8
Okay,
at
there's a
minimum.
difference between Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum. Jaylen Brown, an Achilles tear, that's your career. In my opinion, that 30% gap of twitch, you're done. Jayson Tatum is a very strong player. I think the next iteration of Jayson Tatum is going to be as a power forward. Personally, I think he's going to play the
what
4.
he's been basically.
Well, he's
A different
started,
version of the 4
he
man.
started at the 3 for most of the season. He's played with 2 big lineups many times. But I'm saying, yeah, I think his progression is going to be at the 4. I think he's going to play more in the post, play more off the box. I think they're going to work on his mid-range stuff. He's going to hopefully, tweak his jumper. He's already thinking the game at a much better level this year. Yeah, sure. Maybe he's not 100% of himself. Does he need to be 100% of himself for them to get out of the East? The watered down East next year? Who are you scared of? That's what I'm saying. You want to talk about this in a vacuum, and I agree with you. Jayson Tatum would be better off taking 16 months as opposed to coming back in 9 months. I agree with you. But the problem is, in order for this to actually work, you have to get something of value, because what you're not seeing is that the Celtics have new ownership. They have an extremely expensive roster. They're not about to become a cheap roster. So they're going to be paying a luxury tax bill, and they're not getting any of the benefit of being a playoff team. They're not getting any of the gate of being a playoff team. And they're losing value of the franchise, bro. You're literally buying a franchise and tanking.
Well, I think they're about to get rid of as many contracts as possible.
When you buy something as an investment,
get rid of contracts like that, yo.
I think they're going to trade. But I said this already, by the way, when the season started. I think 2 years from now, I said this last offseason, show remembers this. I think 2 years from now, that Celtics team looks way different than it does right now, because of where they are with the luxury tax bill.
You said that in October.
You want me to slow clap your projections? I'm trying to tell you.
Penn, don't get condescending. Could I disagree with you about calling an athlete a loser? I don't like that.
Call him a loser, bro. He's not a loser.
Language you inferred seemed to suggest.
This is why Jordan can't stand your ass, because you constantly lie.
That seemed to suggest that if Jayson Tatum decided not to play, he was a loser. It was that simple. I didn't like it, so I responded to it.
I paid him a compliment. You're turning it into an insult.
You gave a bunch of words after the fact to clarify what you said. I responded to what you said initially.
You live in a world in which you speak for me. I'm sorry. I remember a lot of pushback when I was telling you what you really thought. So you're definitely not going to sit up here and tell me what I thought.
I heard
plain English.
I heard what you said. No.
I got Superchats.
No, Penn. It's Rod. It's about the end.
All right,
I heard what I heard, and I responded to what I heard. It's that simple. It's really that simple.
No, what you did was you got triggered because you said something, and I said he's
not
a loser. And what you heard,
yes, you do.
Is he calling me a loser?
Jayson Tatum, the best player in the world.
All it was I said he's not a loser after.
That's because you were. That's because you were, Penn. That's what you were inferring. That's what.
All right. Well, Penn and Swiper, you guys are sitting next to each other.
Maybe Ox. Maybe we heard it wrong initially, and then that's what it was.
NBA championship windows do not stay open forever. The Celtics championship window with this current iteration is closing. Now, if the Celtics in the offseason do something crazy, like trade Jaylen Brown or trade Jrue Holiday and strip it apart, then miss the whole season. But if Jrue Holiday's on this team and Al Horford on this team and Kristaps Porzingis on this team and Jaylen Brown's playing, there ain't no way this dude is missing the playoffs. Let me put it that way. There's no way. If he can walk, he will play.
All right, so
and you can say it's wrong, but
that is that. We'll circle back around to it. But as of right now, I have some good super chats from some good people, and I want to be a good host. So Isaiah Evans said, Swiper cooked Giannis after losing to the Pacers, but giving Jokic excuses.
I believe that conversation was relative to the fact that the people that were criticizing and the people that were big upping Giannis as best in the world, mostly Ron, were giving him no criticism for what he did. And that's where that conversation came from. I think they should have lost the series because the Pacers were better. I think that Giannis was really good versus the Heat. I think the Heat were just a better team in that series. I mean, it's really that simple. It's just, I think the two-way street for both those players is radically different for his fans or his stands. I think this is the correct way to go on my computer because it's mirrored for me. So I think Ron and others were the people I was pushing back against. But
you pointed towards Mars, Swiper.
What? Mars doesn't trump. He doesn't trump Giannis like that, like you did. And then, huh?
Nothing.
Go ahead, Ron. As you were saying.
Zenin Foz with the super chat. Zenin said, y'all ready to get into y'all Skip Bayless bag today? nasty takes.
Actually wasn't that bad today. I mean, relative to what it could have been. This is not even the worst thing
Besides
we've
the
had on
Caruso
PC.
disrespect, yeah. Besides the Caruso,
The preaching wasn't bad.
No, well, that was bad. I don't. I think that is
good, actually.
I thought
Well,
that was.
real talk.
I thought that was dope.
I thought that was amazing.
I thought
Yeah.
that was
I just didn't listen. Stop pulling your Bible up. Talk about this, Ron. It's back. It's that's what I'm saying, Ron. Please.
I
Stop.
thought that was my favorite part. That was my
Yeah,
favorite
man.
that was dope.
Yeah,
I
we
Tell
enjoyed
the,
that.
tell the truth and shame the devil.
I thought that was dope.
You didn't, but it was not truth. So like you're
Real talk
putting
almost
yourself in
turned
a
me
bad
into a
situation.
believer,
Don't
man.
just.
I was-
There's no
I was
point.
right.
in it.
You just worry about that black magic going on over there.
They don't. You're practicing black magic and making shots are completely two different things, by the way. But sure, shout out.
Are they?
Yeah, they're really different things. Because there's theological reasons why they're different. But go ahead, sure. No problem. Shots. We can move on.
Johnny Boy 2000 Gaming said, if Tatum is what you say Tatum is, then he should blank. Swipe it to chill
I never
every other day last year. Now we need context for Jokic. Get your big ass in the post and do something.
I
That's
never
all
argued Tatum
Ox
was
is
a top
saying.
3 player or best in the world. So that was never the actual conversation.
I
You
did.
know what?
Chill's opinion on Tatum,
Yeah.
and then him changing his own criteria about Tatum in order to make Tatum.
Watching the
yeah,
internet
best of all
yesterday
talks.
cook you.
Never
like,
changed
kinda-
my
kinda
never
made me sad
changed my
for you,
criteria.
to be
about it.
honest.
No, I did not.
You
do
said
that.
what, Ben?
Watching the internet cook you yesterday kind of made me feel bad. I felt people were being a little bit unfair to you.
Oh.
But listening to you try to manipulate my words today, I'm like, honestly, whatever
There's-
you got
there's
coming
no-
to you,
there's no manipulation.
take it.
I
take it.
enjoy the look.
Go
I
at
think
them.
the fact that people are this like I have so much motion now that my 2021 takes are being brought up in 2025. I think that matters.
I
That's
think.
there's
I
something-
think.
Shout
I
out
think-
Motion,
I-
Ron.
First,
Hey,
first-
Ron,
first-
shout out
important to
Motion,
do.
Ron.
Personally, I think it's sad that people want to cook you so bad that they feel like cooking Jokic is the way to do it. I think that's the sad part.
Shout
Well, I
out
think-
Motion, Ron.
I
That's
think
all
the
got.
Honestly,
conversation
I
about
do.
Jokic extends far beyond me. I was actually right about Jokic before the world was. I think now it's like it's the reverse. It's like
No, Mike
well, if
Mike
he was really
Miller
that
was
great-
right about Jokic before the world was.
said
Mr.
who?
Stroke
Mike
my
Miller.
own.
Who?
Mike Miller.
Mike Miller.
Mike Miller. You
Yeah,
know the
but-
basketball
yeah,
player,
he was-
Mike
so is
Miller.
Will Barton. So is Will Barton. What does that got to do with the media? Like I'm talking about media. That's it. I'm
Did
talking-
Will
I
Barton?
think
Did
Will Barton
Barton
also
say-
saw it too. Yeah, Will Barton.
Are you planting
Kobe-
your flag
By
as
the way,
the first person who saw it with
Kobe also
Jokic?
said Kobe also said to Jokic in the 18 off season or the
Man, you
17 after
blazer.
17 year that he's gonna go win MVP. So Kobe was also ahead of about Jokic too. So shout
Yo,
out.
so first off, shout out to Kevin Garnett. It's his birthday. Happy birthday to the big ticket.
44,
Greatest
45,
ever dude.
46.
I'm not sure his exact birthday, but
No,
shout
he
out.
should still be new.
He looks the same age. Hey, chill.
Also-
He been ball for 20 years, so he 25.
Also, I'm running a poll right now, and I said, who's winning this fight? Swiper versus 100 Twitter ninjas. Y'all go vote and let me know if you got the ninjas on Twitter or if you got Swiper.
Well, isn't all engagement good engagement if it's not like demeaning
Yes.
to another person? Like that's the thing. If it was like I was like being mean to people and stuff, then I
All
deserve
publicity is good
that's a
publicity.
real legit cook. But if it's like you don't like my basketball stuff, I mean that's it's all working out for me. Impressions mean more engagement, and more engagement means more following. More engagement got me here to PC with these great people. So shout out to y'all. Man.
Keep going, Swiper.
Love you, Mars. Keep doing your thing, bro.
DSG Piccolo said on B-ball reference in the 1993 Eastern Conference Finals, Game 3 against the Knicks, Jordan shot 3 for 18 and 6 for 17 from the stripe, and they won by 20. 16 of 17, my bad. 16 of 17 from the stripe, and they won by 20. 103 to 83. Fluent, is that the game you were talking about? I might have heard wrong.
Yeah, that is the game he's talking about.
Oh, so he didn't take 9 shots. He
3
emptied
of
the
18
clip.
is disgusting.
He emptied the clip, and they won by 20.
No wonder he lost MVP next year.
Don't believe. I think Scottie Pippen was like 25 or 12 or 20, 29 that game, something like that in that game 3.
Oh, so he wasn't a Lester. He was actually a
No,
competent number 2 option.
the next game, Jordan had 54.
But Jordan, if he was around in this era, though, he still wouldn't have got slandered because he had already won 2 titles prior to that and 4 MVPs. So, I mean, he was.
Mike would be getting roasted in this era. Hell yes.
No. After winning, I mean, talking
Every
about Mike, 93
play
Mike.
you play today, you're gonna get slandered. It doesn't matter who you are. Jokic, Giannis, Michael Jordan, LeBron James.
Michael Jordan.
Ant doesn't get
LeBron has
Ant
one
not
of
getting slandered.
That's because he won. Wait till he wins.
It
Wait till
100%
he
gets
wins.
slandered.
Well, if he wins, he's not going to get slandered at all. Because
like LeBron has one of the best resumes we've ever seen, and he's getting slandered being the oldest player in the league for not
Yep.
in the league.
Yes.
I think people just don't like floppers.
Jordan
was not a flopper.
He absolutely 100% was a flopper foul.
Playing a lot to the refs though.
Yeah, he
He embellished. I'll say
A
that
lot,
since
a
flopping
lot.
is a bad
He's a
word. So
flopper.
Yeah. Yeah,
he embellished.
You think Michael Jordan was a flopper?
And
He definitely sold a lot. He sold a lot, but there's nothing wrong with
Just
it.
say embellished. Just say embellished. Embellished
He got
gets
fouled
accepted.
a lot.
Flopping.
He got
No,
fouled
but
a
he
lot.
sold,
He's
but he
not a
sold
flopper.
fouls. Like flopping is a sell. Like he was a seller. He sold a lot. Hey,
embellished.
Republicans buy shoes too. Go ahead.
Yes, they
Go
do.
ahead, Ron. Next super chat.
You,
All right,
you
y'all.
always want to bring that shit up. Like,
Bring what part
it's
up? What he
so
said?
weird, man.
The next super chat is from Zenin Foz. Zenin said the Bubble Bass twins love hating on they playback swiper.
Low
Is
and
that
real
low and
talk.
roll to it? That's tight.
Oh, yeah, the powder
Real
puff
talk's a
boys.
Bubble Bass twin?
Apparently.
They have a lot of names. They have a lot of names.
Shout
Yeah,
out to
respect
Bass
them.
twins, man. Shout out to Bass brothers. Gunny sent through a members chat and said it's time. It's time for the Giannis over Jokic agenda.
Yeah, again,
I think this is so
definitely
funny to
brings
me.
up that agenda.
Shout out my man Riv. He sent through an empty super chat, but shout out to Riv. Sincere Motives became a YouTube member today, so shout out to Sincere. And we got another members chat from Ben Shelley.
Thank
Ben
you.
said, all of this Jokic slander is getting in the way of praising Caruso.
That's where I was at. I don't care about none of what you guys
Ball
are saying.
mama.
Jokic should have done this. Jokic should have done that. Let's talk about what Caruso did. I don't forget
Honestly,
Jokic.
if we went down the list of all-time great post scorers, and I'm thinking like a lot of really good ones, I think Caruso would do work on a lot of them with a solid team concept around him. I don't care what you say. Alex Caruso is damn good. This Thunder perimeter defense is better than all the defenses you glaze in NBA history. It's better than all of them.
My only reason I was here today was for Caruso Glaze. Everything else was irrelevant. So all that yap I was hearing about Jokic couldn't do this and he wasn't good enough, blah blah blah. It was just interrupting what should have been the Caruso praise session. So very disappointed. But you know.
Kareem NYK 2001 said Shaq, David, Kareem, Wilt, Dwight, and number 32 are all greater than Jokic.
we know about those great playoff series from David Robinson.
And you know what? Bum number two,
I
bum
agree
number
with two of
three,
those
bum number four, bum number five, bum number six, all better than Kareem.
Wilt
Kareem.
Chamberlain,
Not
man,
Kareem,
no,
not Kareem.
no
Abdul-Jabbar.
drops for Wilt
That's
Chamberlain
Kareem.
in the playoffs.
I agree with two of those names. Well, no, I agree with three of those names. I think
Bum number two or bum number four?
He said Shaq, Kareem, and Wilt. Is that the names he said?
Well, yeah, I think so.
I agree with those names.
All right, we got another super chat from Jersey. Jersey said people tend to lose common sense when Jokic is the topic. Like Caruso just locked him up one-on-one. It's called help defense. I don't know how Swiper stays calm.
Yeah, I enjoy these talks. These are my friends at the end of the day. They don't mean personal harm.
Who said he locked him up one-on-one?
Mars is a
Yeah,
very
yeah,
nice
he
guy
said
in real life. Chill's a very entertaining person in real life. Loves to dance. Ron is very funny, very quiet socially when he's outside. Enjoying himself.
It's the shoulders. It's the petite. It's the petite shoulder.
Ox is a very nice person. He is a teddy bear in real life.
Yo, boxing, I see you.
I have not met Penn, but I'm sure me and Penn, our filmography conversations would probably go wild. Like they probably would draw real numbers. So the only person up here that's actually mean is like
Mars.
I mean, no, Mars isn't mean. Mars is so quiet in real life. Like he's a very humble, like self-reserved person.
Oh, I'm literally this
Humble
person
is a
in real
bad.
life.
Yeah.
No, he's not humble.
I thought
Mars
Mars
is quiet.
Humble is
scumbag.
incorrect.
Hang on.
Quiet, yeah.
Mars
Just so we're
is
clear.
quiet and
Humble is
humble in real
insane.
life.
So we're
Respect.
clear.
No, he's not humble.
I'm just there watching everything unfold and just judging you, man.
I'm not up here
Yes,
playing
he
a
is.
character. I'm
I'm
every
very
bit of this in real
humble.
life too.
Well, I think what I'm saying is more so the camera and the internet don't allow for you to actually engage with people because Mars doesn't talk like big bully in real life because like why would
I don't say words in real life.
Yeah, well, and then
That's
even on the
what's
show, his demeanor is much different in person.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like I think when you're around people and like you're actually in front of them, it's like, oh, I can't just say whatever. You know what I mean? Like me and Chill argue in real life.
I say
We
whatever,
argue on
whatever.
camera. Like we just
Okay,
argue.
you're gonna find out. Look, I've had people reach
can't
out
hit
to
me through
me
a screen.
from when I was 15, 16 years old and be like, yo, bro, you the same person. My girlfriend has said, like, everything I say on camera, I say on that's
Girlfriend.
this is a whole.
What the hell? He can't have a woman?
I didn't know he had a girlfriend. No, I mean,
What
I
the
never
hell?
heard this.
5 years. So
Congratulations.
that's what I'm saying.
Big deal.
I thought Penn had 3 girlfriends.
Hey, when
Here we go with the goofy shit. Here we go.
We'll see.
As you were saying, Penn.
Jersey
I don't
sent
change.
through an empty super chat, but shout out to Jersey. Grande Jones said, why did Jokic in game 7 take 9 shots and 11 free throws? Why didn't he empty the clip? Isn't that what the greats do for their teams?
He's played in. I think he's played in 7 of these joints, and
That's
that's
the
the
real
least amount of
question,
shots he's ever
man.
taken. So yeah, I mean,
Maybe
pick
he
another
should
one.
answer the clip.
Just pick another one. Just pick another game. Pick another game. Pick last year. Just pick that one.
We got a super chat from I said, do y'all think Jokic relying more on post fades would have helped him in this series just to avoid getting triple teamed near the rim as much?
Just a less effective shot.
Yes.
I don't think Jokic is a good enough shooter to where you want him to shoot those shots.
There you have it. Teddy Hart said, if the Nuggets had Markkanen instead of MPJ,
hell yeah.
Do you think the outcome changes? If so, should they pursue
it? It would have been 4-1. They'd be sitting there chilling, waiting to play the Wolves. If they had an off-ball score to do something, might have been out there.
But Larry Markkanen is a sneaky like.
Yeah, 4-2.
People are low on Markkanen. Like last year, the stock of Markkanen was pretty. Now the stock of Markkanen seems to drop.
They wouldn't be beaten.
I think Markkanen is still.
They wouldn't be beaten. I mean, that's pretty simple.
He was just in a really terrible context this year. They asked him to do a whole bunch of things that he's not comfortable with because they wanted to lose basketball games. That's all it was. Lauri Markkanen hasn't fallen off a cliff, but he's not some perfect equation. I don't think he's that much of an upgrade over Michael Porter Jr., but he is a better player. I don't think he's that much of an upgrade. Swiper, I think
but he's a much better scorer than Porter is.
Swiper, where is it? Is he clear?
DeMar DeRozan too.
He also gets paid.
Did you watch DeMar DeRozan in the playoffs?
He also gets paid.
He was hurt. Wait, hold on. MPJ was hurt. Don't do that.
He also gets paid $9 million more than him. So yeah,
I was still rather have Lauri Markkanen. But that's about $43 million. Penn, to be fair,
he just signed that $225 million extension, Moss.
Yeah, but Penn, to be fair, if the Nuggets trade Porter, it's probably going to be a bad contract. I already said this yesterday on Locked On Nuggets. Penn, I would not be surprised. I'm not saying do this. Not my first option, Penn. But you know what? I would not be surprised if there's a Zeke Naji, Michael Porter Jr. for Paul George swap. I would not be surprised. That'd be a great team. That would be a great swap.
Paul George would be good for you guys.
I know, but I'm saying PG because of the injury history, the age. Really, like they're trying to get off the.
Paul George is good. I don't know what to tell people. Paul George is good.
It's the contract.
Paul George is good.
It's the contract.
Paul George is good.
He's better than people remember. You know what's crazy? I literally went back and I watched.
Paul George can't play basketball is ridiculous. He's still playing.
Okay, there's a difference between being able to play
and he can still tackle for closeout. Like Paul George is still good.
Paul George should be great as on the wing and
yo Swiper.
Paul George is like
all I'm saying is you're gonna have some competition for the best podcaster in Denver.
I got to get back to these super chats.
He's definitely better than Michael Porter Jr. Yeah,
he's coming for your throne.
Who?
Paul George.
Yeah, I'm not the best podcaster in Denver. Have you heard Adam Mades? He's great. He's better than I am.
I don't think so.
Live Moods. That's where I'm at.
Fresh Boy Swag Almighty, run him down. Said Swipe is going to get slandered for being supportive and funny. Penn will go unchecked for his hate and inconsistency. We get a sincere apology to Jaylen Brown, Penn.
Y'all want an apology? Shove it up your ass. You told me, y'all tried to tell me that the Celtics were better without Jayson Tatum, and then they got smoked by 40. And you know what I heard? Crickets. Shut your mouth.
Hey, wait, Penn. He said, I'm funny, I'm nice, I'm an honorable, well-served, well-loving person. Are you going to apologize to me for slandering me?
That's not what he said.
Chill, I thought. Ron, did that not with the super chat?
That's not what he said.
Yes, it did. That's how I interpreted it. Okay, but I don't know. Everybody's been interpreting things the wrong way this episode, so who knows? Cowboy Bob said at Mars, you still haven't answered my open gym question. Who is a better defender, Alex Caruso or Drew Holiday? Also, elbow drop off the top rope to the Pacers. Go New York, go.
Caruso.
You got Caruso?
Yes.
Shout out Caruso. Tank Jones said, it's funny how the Nuggets starters won their minutes every game, yet somehow finished with a negative plus minus, Jokic being one of the most egregious.
What was he, like a minus 40 on the series? I think?
Yeah, 2 blowouts. Yeah, he stayed in the game, both of those games. Yeah, minus 40, I think, overall. I think after yesterday, he was a minus 10 maybe going in the game yesterday or something like that.
You know, it's funny when you were quoting all the plus minuses on the team and you were like, oh,
the starter plus minuses?
No, you were like, oh my God, Russell Westbrook is minus 23 or whatever. Do you know that when you said that, I think the Denver Nuggets were down 20 and Michael Porter Jr. was plus 1. We brought it up on Playback. Thought that was just funny.
Well, yeah, I think that mattered. He plays with the starters, and the starters are really good together.
but most of your
That's
other
what I
starters were like negative 15 or negative 12 at that point.
Yeah, I think he was, but they were.
Or he was just lucky, I guess. So
No,
it kind of
they were a plus 11 when he was in the game. In the first
I know that you like to interpret what I'm saying, so let me interpret what I'm saying for you. Let me interpret what I'm saying for you. Plus single game plus minus.
This player might be a
stupid.
loser. I'm going to
Single game
respond
plus
to you.
minus is stupid.
Single game box plus minus is even dumber, by the way. But yeah, I don't
Single
use that.
game box plus minus is way more involved than plus minus.
Next super
I don't
chat.
know.
Can we just
I
stay
don't know
away
what
from
the
the
hell
plus
you're talking
minuses
about.
in general? Can we just watch the games?
Isaiah Evans watches the games apparently because he said Ron and Ox is spitting. They are talking fundamentals, not narrative.
I don't
Ron
think Ron
was
said a single
spitting
thing about the
Mr.
fundamentals.
Narrative.
one
was
thing.
I
spitting.
said I vividly said the word fundamentals. I even
You're
Yeah, but I don't think you
you're-
said anything about fundamentals. You may have said the word.
I said the word fundamentals. You listen, posting up, giving your man a target, that's fundamental basketball. Stealing your man, that's fundamental basketball. And I seconded it.
Yeah, you
I
might
said,
say I agree, but you didn't say it.
When you have a little man on you, it's fundamentals to steal him. Caruso. All right. When you have a big man on you.
No,
Okay, Ron.
can I just say, when 7'7" Nikola Jokic posted up 5'8" Alex Caruso, it was pretty egregious. Can we stop like lying about how tall these guys are? I've heard Alex Caruso called 6'2" yesterday.
I don't get. So why does he post up Rudy Gobert? Why does he post up Rudy Gobert? He does it to Rudy. You can't do it to Caruso.
But if he did it to Rudy,
no, he does it to Rudy. He can't do it to Caruso.
Rudy doesn't.
Rudy
doesn't front
playoffs.
him. Rudy doesn't front him. Rudy plays it straight up.
Okay, and it's easier to cook somebody on the front. Push him up the lane.
That relies on the entry pass to being able to make the entry pass. That's
right,
the issue. Like I didn't say much in the conversation because I was just praising Caruso. Jokic had 81 touches yesterday. He averages like 105. OKC took away his touches, and if you look at all of Denver's turnovers, 85% of them either came from an entry pass or came from when Jokic caught the entry pass. He got stripped on the catch. They couldn't get him the ball.
But Mark,
so that's the big reason
why did they not want?
And the big reason why they couldn't get him the ball is because of the work Caruso was doing and the ball pressure on the entry passes. So that's what I'm saying. Give OKC's defense a lot of credit for what they were doing, and give Caruso a lot of credit for what he was able to do.
But Mark, he's a bum. Why were they denying? Why were they denying a bum from getting the ball? He's a bum, right? He's not as good as Shaq. He's not as good as this guy.
But that doesn't make him a bum. Like, stop.
The most effective strategy against the Nuggets all year has been trying to take away Jokic touching the ball in the first place.
Kind of like what the Lakers did when they beat them.
Lakers, the Kings have done it. OKC
Yes,
obviously did it. Like it's not a foreign strategy. It's just Caruso is the best player they've had to deploy it.
Yep.
So credit to Caruso.
Trayvon Ray said they got to add pre-cooked isn't cooked to the Bible or something. Hallelujah.
That was a leap.
Hallelujah.
Ron, you know entirely too much about that word just to be spouting it like that. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Respect to you, though.
Yeah, how dare you say hallelujah, Ron?
Yeah. How dare I praise the Lord?
Which
I will
word?
give you. I will give a
which
nugget every
word?
once in a while.
Hallelujah means it's the word associated with the highest praise possible.
Yeah, I'm not asking what hallelujah.
Hey, Alex Caruso, hallelujah, man.
Which word do you say Ron knows the most about?
Oh, well, hallelujah. Ron
okay, cool. I thought you meant pre-cooked. Okay.
What does this even mean right here? This is racially motivated, I think. Like
probably the stuff about Jokic.
This is so corny, man. You do it, and I usually see these kind of super chats from in pounds, which means that
I
usually see that.
People Mars.
You know, everybody who has pounds is peak.
Was that actually in pounds or was it in euros?
That's hilarious.
Let me just say something. I think, unfortunately, the conversation around Nikola Jokic, because he is white, and Caitlin Clark, because she is white. I mean, Jokic is sort of white. I mean, he's Serbian. I think it's unfortunate that so many racist weirdos get caught up in the fandom of these players. And then they start spouting bullshit about these players.
Kyle Clark. Care about that. We don't care. Up here specifically, because he wrote that super chat because he was talking about us specifically. There isn't one of us up here from the time that I've been around you guys that are racially motivated.
I get you. But all I'm saying is the narrative around these players, unfortunately, is racially motivated. And a lot of people who are on this weird ass crusade, whether it be, like some political crusade or some sort of ethnic crusade, are using these players as emblems.
Bro, I saw Jason Whitlock put a Jokic video up talking about, man, he's the real best. We got to talk about why they hate Jokic so much. I said, bro, I'm so sick of y'all finding this man, bro. Like, he is the worst thing that's happened to sports in the NBA for a while. But not because of him. Not because of him though. Yeah, I mean, I'm saying Jokic is not anything because of Jokic. It's because of the way in this era we talk about like white people, whiteness, and racism and all that.
I've heard. I posted a video which got like 2.5 million views about Nikola Jokic talking about his family and how much his family means more to him than basketball. And I hear a lot of people saying a lot of positive things, like what a balanced, wonderful person. But then I hear people saying this is the white way to be, and I'm like, what? Where the fuck are you? You know the craziest thing about the white weirdos? I'm not saying white weirdos as a weird thing. I'm saying like the people who are like all pro white supporting Jokic. I guarantee you, I don't know if any of y'all watching this, but hear me when I say this. He fucking hates you guys.
Yo, Pin.
Y'all weirdos, he hates y'all.
Chats.
As he should.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, now we got those super chats. And
Mike the Champ said all that Jokic stuff Swiper was pushing is over.
No.
Jokic not even better than Amari Stoudemire. Swiper, sit down and go cry in the corner like Chill does.
This dude might be the worst. Just so
That's
you
a
know, he
two-parter.
said this dude he might be the worst of all of them. Just so you know, he said that if Kawhi Leonard was to win the NBA championship this year, he better than Bird. He said that if the Cavs would have won the NBA championship this year, Donovan Mitchell is better than Allen Iverson. He said that. But he's also the same dude that said that championships aren't it's a team achievement, it's not an accolade. He said that.
Shout out to Kawhi and D Mitch.
I mean, I could have a Kawhi and Bird on. I could do that.
Superman Real said, shout out to the gritty Nuggets. But to the rest of y'all Jokic Glazers, aside from Swiper, a true Nuggets fan, Giannis hate watch was a failure. Thank you.
303. Shout out Denver. I don't understand the last part of that, but I understand the first part of it.
Yeah, salute to him. We have yet another super chat from Will Hofer. Will says, shout out to the panel. PC, the best channel on the planet. You guys help people get through their work week and genuinely help a lot of people learn and understand basketball. Dub Chill, Dub Ox, Dub Ron, Dub Mars, Dub Pin, Dub Swiper, Dub PC. Check you guys out. We have another member today. He goes by the name of Jalen Davis. Shout out to Jalen for joining up. Shout out to Fallback Hoops for becoming a YouTube member as well. Salute to you guys. I have another super chat back to back from DSG Piccolo. DSG said, did Jose Alvarado actually get suspended 80 games? Damn, he must have been taking horse tranquilizers.
80 games is crazy. And then if they shorten the season next season, Chill, that means he has to miss the whole season and plus the next season. Wow. Crazy.
DSG Piccolo said, oh, wait, it is some baseball. Ninjas.
It was some baseball.
Let's move on.
Correct.
Shout out to DSG. Just Nocturno said, if the Spurs don't get Giannis, should they try and trade for D-Book or Laurie in trades with Castle / Vassell and the picks they own?
Laurie, hold on, y'all. Laurie next to Wemby, Fox, Castle.
I like it.
Oh my gosh.
I like it. Yes, I do.
5 out offense.
I like it.
Wow.
I'm Dre Q. Said, Mavs fan, I would love if we managed to get either Drew or Derek White.
Drew and Dallas.
For what?
I'm not giving up PJ Washington.
PJ Washington and Clay? Maybe.
I would give up PJ and Clay for Drew.
For who?
For Drew Holiday.
For PJ?
Yeah.
Oh.
I got Cooper Flag.
Derek, yes, I would.
I got Cooper Flag. Why need PJ for?
Oh, they are dropping Cooper Flag.
But they're not just giving away Derek White. Derek White's a positive.
Derek White, I don't think is attainable, but I would offer that for Derek White.
Don't say that, Morris. You can be anything you want to be.
Handbon became a YouTube member. Shout out to Handbon. DSG Piccolo said the SAT had 3 sections when ninjas like Ox was in school. What was the comment talking about? 1,500 wasn't getting you into MIT or Harvard.
Y'all so insane, bro. 3 sections. I believe somebody correct me. I think they have 4. Is it 5? I can't remember what the exact number is on the SATs.
I would tell you, Swiper.
I got into
but I ain't take them.
I got into Cornell.
And for the record, 1,500.
I got into Cornell.
1,500 was getting you into Harvard. If you were a basketball player and you were really good and you got a 1,500 in your SATs and you came from a really good program, you're getting into Harvard. Yes, you are.
Yeah, Cornell was a step down for me personally, but my sister went there, but I went to the better institution in Baylor. Shout out.
Your sister went to Cornell?
Yeah,
that's dope.
I went to a state
I went to
school,
Players
so
Choice, so you know
I'm
what I'm saying.
sorry. I went to a
PC University is dope. That's where it's at. Mars got you clear.
Mm-hmm.
Trayvon Ray said, "I'm sorry, but Pascal in last year in the playoffs was not better so far than Randle is this year."
I agree.
Facts.
Outside the first round is what I said. Actually, first round he was great. He was one of the 8 best players in the playoffs in the first round, maybe higher. Next year.
Troll XD123 said, so Ticket was right about Brunson, and a small guard can be a championship team and contender. I still miss my GOAT Chris Middleton. TAA is a rat. Who's TAA?
They really traded Kyle Kuzma for Chris Middleton.
That's football. That's about football. Yeah, I think anyone can be the number one on the championship team if you're good enough. It doesn't make much difference to me.
We've already seen a number of iterations of it, though.
Just build a good team. I don't know what to tell you.
All right, y'all. We have yet another super chat from Andre Q. Andre Q said, "If you were attempting to put Randle in top 15, I'm curious, where does Kyrie rank?"
Look, man, I think people are taking the top 15 shit too literally. I'm not necessarily saying he's top 15. I'm saying he plays like a top 15 player if he beats or if he solves OKC's defense. Because let's be honest, this year, Cade Cunningham probably going to be third team All-NBA. He also averaged 5 turnovers a game and shot 17%, like in the playoffs from 3, right?
And
so he didn't play like a top 15 player. He might be a top 20 player, top 25 player next year, but he didn't play like one. So I'm saying if Julius solves OKC's defense, a defense that Nikola Jokic struggled with, then yeah, I think we could have the conversation of top 15, top 20 players right now. Maybe not next year. That's all.
Don't you think they have? Would you say they have a better offensive personnel, and with the Wolves all the way around than the Nuggets do?
If Jokic
does Jokic count as the personnel?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Is Jokic on the crew?
Well, I guess in this situation, you would have to take Julius and Jokic off like the rest of the personnel. That makes sense.
Okay, that's crazy.
Got about fellas.
It is 215. It is.
Rated them off.
Oh, it is 250. Yeah.
Did you check the private chat, Ron?
Yes, but it's 215.
I got you.
All right, chill. Another super chat from Kareem NYK 2001. Kareem said, "Dudes like Mars think basketball exists in a vacuum. Achievements don't matter. It's asinine. Thinking Marsketball? Thinking Marsketball is an emotional lesbian. Chill and Pin Cook."
Yeah, achievements don't matter to me. Yeah, for sure. Do I think basketball exists in a vacuum? No, I think I'm trying to make the actual opposite point. I think I've been very consistent in that, saying that players having bad games isn't an indictment on their holistic career because it's not in a vacuum. You can analyze what happens in a single game without analyzing a player's whole career and what they've done up to that point as if that means that they're not as good as what people say. I think I've been trying to make that point about Jokic, about Julius Randle, about Shea, etc., etc., etc. And Zach Edey, when he had a bad playing game and I said he was terrible, that was me trying to make it abundantly clear. It wasn't he's been terrible the whole year, he's not that good, as opposed to he was bad in that game. I'm trying to go away from it being existing in a vacuum. And the emotional lesbian part, I wouldn't identify as a lesbian. So
get it right.
Love is love.
Kareem.
Identify how you want to identify.
What about the other part?
Emotional? I mean, I think every
No, not that part. Not that part. Chill and Pin cooking.
I don't know. I don't even know if they were on the same side of the topic. The Julius Randle topic is always talking about? Then yeah, maybe, I guess.
All right. Super chat from Mo. Mo said Dub Show and Mars, 2019 Harden or 2016 Steph. I got my GOAT, obviously.
Yeah, sorry, Harden. 2016 Steph is another level of player completely.
Isaiah Evans said, "Ron, let me come up and cook Swiper and put me on the big screen." Isaiah, I would love to do that. Pull up to Playback someday or become a Hall of Famer, and then you have access to come up here every single Friday and cook Swiper every single Friday. But shout out to Isaiah for tapping in, and shout out to Isaiah for the super chats. I got another super chat from Morning Bump. Morning said, "Just started watching and I see fluid. Monday already off to a great start. I agree. Shout out to Fluent. I got 2 new members. One by the name of Mary Ann Gus. Shout out to Mary Ann. And another one by the name of Nathan Feather. Shout out to Nathan Feather. Also, shout out to Harris Abasi. Shout out to Harris. 3Up sent through a members chat and said, what's your favorite playoff series?
This year? Probably Denver or KC.
Yeah, I agree.
I like Denver Clippers.
That was good too.
Sev sent through a super chat or a members chat. And quite frankly, Sev is spitting. Sev said Dub host today.
I think
Hallelujah.
I think they sent that when you went on your little hiatus and Mars was hosting.
Well, hallelujah. Dub host today. We got another member named J. Hugh. Shout out to J. Hugh for joining up. Ray B sent through a super chat and said, stop putting your favorite players in conversations they don't belong in and hold them accountable. Damn it.
What does it mean to hold a player accountable? Does that mean just criticize them?
Basically.
I
don't
exactly know what we're holding accountable. We're just saying
I think it means about keeping your benchmarks or keeping your logic consistent. So if it's a problem that Jokic struggled against a certain team, then it has to be a problem that your favorite player also struggled against that team. You know what I mean? If it's a problem that he took 9 shots in an elimination game, then it has to also be a problem that other players that you think are better than him also took 9 shots in an elimination game. I just think it's about being consistent.
Okay, yeah, be consistent. I agree with that for sure.
Shout out to everybody that comes up on the panel and is inconsistent. We got another members chat from Adam West. Adam said it's crazy how I've been pushing Aaron Gordon propaganda all year, and now everyone sees it finally. Shout out to Mr. Nuggets.
Shout out to Aaron Gordon.
Yeah.
Harv said Ron trying to be like Stephen A. Smith is jarring.
You trying to be like Stephen A?
That's news to me. But if so, dub Stephen A.
Quite
Stephen
frankly,
Dub
I
Smith.
think that's ridiculous.
That's what I'm gonna call him. Mello Williams with the members chat. Mello said, shout out to Aaron Gordon. Big ups to AG. So inspirational. And last but not least, we got a super chat from Isaiah Jackson. Isaiah said, if Brunson is doing MJ numbers in the playoffs, how is he not in the top 10? He's been the greatest player in the playoffs for 2 years now, debatably.
I'm glad you added the second part, debatably. It's not. But
What
he's
numbers
great.
are NBA numbers? Oh. Everyone has new numbers that make someone Michael Jordan in some sense. I don't know. So shout out to Jalen Brunson. He's been hooping.
His clutch numbers are Jordan-esque.
Shout out to
There's only
Jalen.
clutch numbers from 97 and 98. So I mean, shout out to okay, nice.
We see you, Jalen Jeffrey Brunson. We see you. All right, y'all. We'll be back tomorrow at the same time with a couple new people, and we'll be talking strictly about the Eastern Conference Finals and giving our predictions, and the Western Conference Finals too. So you guys know what to do. Like the video on the way out. When you pull up tomorrow, like the video on the way in, and we will see you at the same time in the same place. We out.
Peace.
That's a beautiful picture.